OpenAI has just launched GPT-5 Codex today, and we're going to have a live look at it and see how this is actually going to work for us as far as using this in software. So just a quick reminder for those who are just kind of tuning in, this is a live stream and we're going to be kind of taking a look at this live as a first look, and I'm trying my new setup, so let me know if there's any issues here. Because I just got everything all set up. So the folks from the OpenAI team, Romain, has basically said that in order for you to get set up, you could just type in npm-i-g, which installs it globally, OpenAI/Codex, and then you'll be able to kind of get it configured into your IDE. And then also there's a Codex-m, and then this is how you choose the specific model Codex. And just for those who don't know, OpenAI said that it's also available in the CLI, which is the command line interface, the IDE extension, the web, mobile, and for code reviews inside of GitHub. So this is a pretty cool update because the promise here is that it's supposed to be really great at code refactoring tasks. So we're going to be taking a look at some of those types of things. I'm going to be trying to see if I can refactor my app. It's actually a fork from Ross Mike, who's currently working at Convex, and he made this really great app, and it's called Drip Me Out, and it would add a chain. And I thought it'd be kind of cool if I could just take photos of my friends and then have it do these cool like anime 2D style type of art. And that's kind of what we're doing here. But there are a couple of bugs. When I ever have a portrait mode, I'm not able to scroll down and kind of show some more information. So when I have one here, like in this type of settings, you can see I can click down, I can see these types of things. And that's where I'm able to kind of show a little bit more information. And so I think if you can, somebody let me know if the font is too small, and I'll try to see if I can improve it. I'm using a new display, and I would love to get your feedback because I'm using the new 1080p or streaming stuff here. So Raul, how's it going? Cooking with right now. Yes, looks good on Twitch. Okay, that's really awesome. Appreciate it. And so you can kind of see as I increase the size of the browser, especially when I'm browsing on mobile, we can't even get to those settings. We can't even scroll to them. So there's a clear bug that's going on here that we need to fix. And this would be really fun to test out the GPT-5 capability. And I don't know if you know, but I really like to do a lot of planning for my apps. And I have this new way of doing documentation with Cursor. And so in my documentation scheme, I'll have to show you how that works as well. And this is how we ship features, because I have a dedicated documentation folder. Let me see if I can make this a little bit bigger so that way folks can read it and it'll be kind of easier on the eyes, if you know what I mean. All right, so the way that I do things is I have, I'll just go to the README and I'll kind of show you a little bit of what this looks like. I'll get this over to the side. I have some rules that I give to Cursor and the AI agents. And what this does is basically allows you to work on features, sets them to active, and then there's an agent that follows along the progress to make sure that the spec is implemented. And once the active feature is currently shipped, it moves over to completed. And so these were all the different features that we completed. I like this for myself because it's a really great way of having memory for agents, especially if you're having agents work in parallel. And this is sort of the precursor for that. And what's nice about it is you can see this is a very detailed spec that's in here. And this is actually what GPT-5 promises to accelerate in. And I'll show you how I do these workflows. And we're going to actually test out GPT-5 Codex to see if it's really good at following this pattern. Because I don't know about you, but one of the things that's really interesting here is what they promise in this thing is saying like for code refactoring task, and it could do these types of things. So one of the factors in code refactoring that they talk about is the evaluation contains refactors for like large established repositories. And one of the things I think they also mentioned here is the fact that it will also like make its own tests and continue to iterate on its features. So like what happens there is that it'll like go through something, go through a test, check itself out, and it'll keep outputting more things until it's basically done. And they're even saying here in the actual article, it says it's gone through 7 hours at a time on a large complex task, iterating through its implementation, fixing features, and ultimately delivering a successful implementation. I don't know about you, but this sounds extremely promising and amazing. And the way that we can get there, I think I have some techniques. So we're going to just totally discover this live coding. So I appreciate everyone who's kind of been joining in now. And yeah, let's just start cooking. I mean, I feel like you're probably going to watch 50 YouTube videos and they're all going to read the exact same little thing. And I don't think you need to see more of this. We need to see just more coding. And the way that I'm going to configure this is inside of Cursor. So I installed Codex already using that command that Romain just shared earlier. And we have this new interface. And so Codex used to be over here, and then I was able to drag it up over on this side. You just grab the little name and then you just kind of drag it over and it shows up in here. So it says, try GPT-5 Codex now. So this, I think everyone gets pushed through this little workflow here. and we should be able to check it out. Continue using try. Yeah. So let's go ahead and hit this. Okay, cool. So, all right. So now we have some stuff that's going on here. And I think we're like, I have this spec file is pretty big here. It's like 500 something, lines. And I don't actually know if we implement the whole thing. So I'm just going to give this task to Codex. Let's see how we can select the model. It says auto add context / model. Okay. So at the very bottom right, I think it's kind of hard to see, but I want to make sure I can expand this out. Okay. So I'm going to expand this out so that we can see at the bottom right here. It says GPT-5 Codex low, medium, and high. So those are the models that we can select now in accordance with the actual low, medium, and high here for the GPT-5. Okay, that's a really good thing to know. And let's go ahead and kind of take a look at it a little bit further from here. So let's kind of see here. Please excuse my mouse while I kind of get it back here. Okay, so I think if I understand correctly that the model is supposed to self-select between high, medium, and low, but I'm just going to do a high task for now. And what I'm going to tell it to do is like, we're entering this blind, and I'm just going to use whisper flow here real quick. I want you to take a look at my current implementation because I'm not exactly sure where we are in the current unauthenticated gallery spec. So I'll need you to review the code changes and let me know what we still have left to work with. And then I think I should just be able to drag this file into here. I think, oops, I'm going to command. Yeah. So if I just do @unauthenticated. Oh, okay. Okay, cool. So I should be able to add the file. And this is, I'm just going to let it go do its thing here. So, and this is agent full access. We have chat, plan, or agent full access, and we have local or cloud here. And I'm just right now just going to let it YOLO. YOLO, friends. That's all we do right here, right? Yeah. So, all right, we're letting it do its thing. All right. I want to get some feedback for those folks who are currently watching. How is the font? Is the font too small? Should I make it bigger? Or I kind of wanted to get your font of that. You said font is good? Okay. Anthropic is cooked. Yep. I think they are low key. Yeah. Oh snap. Your live is sweet. Cooking with Codex. Yes. I've been wanting to check it out, even though I'm comfy with Claude. Bro, I mean, you got to get on to GPT-5 Codex and you'll see why. Same here. It's quite good actually for existing projects. Hello. How's it going, Bruno? I appreciate all the regulars joining up on the stream. If I make it a little bit smaller, can you still read it? Like, is this too small for you? Let me know in the chat. And that way we can kind of, I just want to make sure I fit everything on the screen. And I'm trying a new setup. So for those who don't know, you can kind of see I have like another screen here, a different camera that I'm looking at for you here. And I also have this one, like my normal camera that you usually see me with. And I also got all the good sounds and everything. I'm also working on trying to see if I can get some unlicensed or some licensed music that would be more chill. That way we can kind of vibe together. So yeah, if you can still read this, or if it's not that clear, let me know. And then I'll just up the font size. Just for those who are currently watching. So right now, basically what I'm doing is I have a 600, almost 700. Dang, it's even probably longer than that. I don't know if I generated this using Claude or not, but I basically wanted it so that we can, in my app, when I log in, we can share this. So if I hit copy share link and I hit paste, I can actually send this to a friend. And this is currently showing localhost, but when this is deployed live, which is currently is right now, you'll actually see this link. So I think if you do drip me out -5 Vercel app, I'm going to just go ahead and copy and put this into the chat so y'all can play around with this. Don't be putting no crazy stuff up in there, by the way. Otherwise you get banned. So if you check out this link right now, you can actually play with this. This is currently live. And you're also going to be using my Google Nano Banana, thing. And so anytime you upload an image, you should be able to kind of see it from the gallery like you do here. And then you can see start creating. So yeah, that's how you can actually sign in and you create a free account. So I created this live using, clerk authentication, and we've kind of built this all live for y'all to check out. So let me kind of get this back out again so we can check this out. So yeah, you can take a photo with your phone as well, and it does all that stuff there. But the cool thing is that I also added like link sharing. And so if I say disable sharing, now this link won't be available. If you go check out the link and refresh it, it's going to say like user image not found, doesn't exist, or has been removed. So this is pretty cool. And this is all using Convex, which is awesome. So yeah, part of like the joys of Convex is it's all real time. And so as soon as you do these types of things, like the functions hit and then like, the refresh live, it's cool. It's like, I don't know, it's like the best AI coding type of assistant here. So let's go back to cursor and see what's cooking. So as of now, it's basically just checking out my spec and it's going through super crazy. And it's thinking, I don't know if we can actually see much of the output. It's just, yeah, basically it's just kind of grepping all the different files right now. So it's reviewing the initial resources, and I actually have agents.md files everywhere. So one of the goals that you may learn here, and I want to share this with you, it's some secret sauce, but I think y'all should know about this. So if you drop a whole bunch of agents.md files in different directories, it is super duper helpful for these AI agents to go through your code. So previously, whenever you work with Cursor, I used to have Cursor rules, and I still do. The Cursor rules will define these little things called globs, and the globs will actually say they're basically like grep rules. And so you can say, I want these specific file extensions to be searched for and used whenever you're like using a specific rule, and you can apply to specific files here. And so when I'm working on the convex backend, it's actually only going to apply to the convex folder and the convex, star under star, like inside of those folders, but not other types of files here. So each of these globs are really important for Cursor rules to determine where it should be acting, if it is doing that, and if it's applying intelligently, like where it should be specifically doing that. And so another rule breakdown is that if you're not using that, if you're using like Claude uses the Claude.md files, but if you place a Claude.md file in a specific directory, right now this one is placed into the app directory. So anything inside of here, whenever an AI agent goes in here, you'll actually see the actual Claude's rules. And so that's 137 lines. And what's nice about this is with Claude, whenever you have a rules file inside of a folder, whenever it's going to write code to that specific folder, it's going to behave in a certain way. And you want that because you want consistency in your code. So usually in my app folder, I have routes, right? So I want my routes to be in a certain way. And then I have one inside of a convex folder. So that's my backend. So whenever I'm making changes to the backend, I want to do that type of thing. But here's the unlock that no one really talks about, is that you can actually write little links saying, if you're ever writing code here and it's dealing with convex, make sure you actually link to these specific folders and take a look at the rules in there. And so what that does, when the AI agent's doing its work, it loads that into the context. It's a really lightweight rules file. And then the second part of it is it's going to actually understand that behavior. And so what's nice about it is that now you're giving this huge power to the language models, not only Claude, but you're also giving it to every other model who uses the new agents.md. And so Claude has their own format. It's called Claude.md. And then OpenAI, Cursor, AMP Code, Factory AI, all these other agents are now taking advantage of this new thing called AGENTS.md. So it's just like a Claude.md file, but it's specifically for those AI agents. And so they follow the same patterns. And what I like to do, so instead of having one large rules file in your root folder, now you can actually break them apart and put them in these different directories. And if you don't know how to do this, you can just tell your AI agents. But this is what I'm talking about. It says use the nearest agents.md file, the closest wins. And so this is described at the root level. So at my root level, right at the top of my project directory, I say to keep the agent minimal, each major folder has its own agents.md file. And the front end app rules are here. The shared components are in here, the convex backend rules and the documentation rules. And as you can see, I can option click like to the components, and it's actually going to tell me, like tell the agent as well, saying, let me just kind of make this bigger for you so you can see right here. And let me just kind of minimize the codex thing for now, just so we can kind of go over this, and then we'll get back into the codex stuff. But this rule stuff is really important, and this is going to be the difference of like maybe why my agent behaves better than some other people's, or maybe your friends may not get the same results as you. And if you're watching this, it's like just crazy alpha right now. So right now in this root folder, when I went to components, right, this agents folder here is telling the actual AI agent about the components and then the UI directory. It's also telling it about the type of stack that we're using, ShadCN UI with Radix. And when it's going to go ahead and actually do any like type safety, because I have convex, I told the agent to make rules because I'm using convex. This is actually how it's going to write code for me. And this is extremely powerful because convex is reactive. And convex as a reactive database means that the data sits on the back end, and then the front end is just going to basically leave these little holes for the data to be filled in and be in real time. And there's a specific way that convex likes to do that, and it's actually described here. And it's really nice because every time it writes files into these directories, it knows what to do, and I don't have to remind it again. So it's never create manual compositions like doc images for these types of things. And it actually tells it about ShadCN UI components. And so this is really, really cool. And this is actually going to tell it like how to actually install it as well. So testing the components, make sure you do these build checks and then we're good. And so this is the power of having like a AGENTS.md file. And even Claude.md kind of has something similar as well. So the good thing is that these types of agents, when you do /init, will actually get you to like, it'll read those files. And if it doesn't, you can tell the agent in the second turn to generate the rules files for each of the component directories or each of the subdirectories in your app, and maybe call out specific ones that it didn't do it for. So yeah, that's a quick primer on rules. And let's go ahead and get back into GPT-5 now that it's finished some work here. So we can kind of go over its findings. So I just wanted to get a quick update on where it was in the status of my app. And it's part of the reason why I do that documentation. So it says blocking. The public gallery never accumulates pages. So the public gallery derives images straight from the latest used query. So hitting show more wraps the next slice and drops items from the earlier pages. We need to mirror the accumulation pattern you already use in authenticated dashboard. This is great. High. So these are like blocking, high, and medium. I like how it's actually already ranked this. GPT-5 is pretty smart actually. Creators can undo admin takedown themselves when the owner toggles the feature switch back on. Forcibly clears disabled by admin, which lets them immediately republish content and admin is just removed. So this is an interesting call out that it actually understood this. And what's insane is, let's see its work. GPT-5 spent a lot of time. You can see it was thinking through each of these types of tasks. And we don't actually get to see the output of the thinking, which I was hoping for, because I wanted to see and learn from how it reviewed the entire file. And it gave us some output here. I'm analyzing the admin. Okay. It just tells us a little bit of what it's doing. And this is kind of it summarizing its findings, but this is actually the output here. This is really interesting. I've been using GPT-5 mostly inside of Cursor agents, not specifically in Codex. So this is my first time kind of digging through this type of thing. And I think it's really great because if you have a ChatGPT Pro plan, for $20 a month, you could be able to get access to this model, which is absolutely bonkers. And it's ridiculously inexpensive compared to Claude Sonnet. So the schema index work for the featured images is in place. Public query, shared validators. Okay, create UX for the admin tooling. Okay, that's cool. Keep the accumulated page array in the similar gallery and then gate the update features. Okay, so let's go ahead and kind of continue this build out here. And so what I'm going to go ahead and do is going to say, I'm going to tell it to do this. Can you go ahead and move it to active and also add in that we're having some issues with a bug where once a user clicks an image, if their image is in portrait or landscape, or if the screen size is not big enough, they're not actually able to see the features. So they're going to have to, we're going to have to somehow fix that layout issue as well. And then what I'm also going to do before I do anything is also tell it, the second thing I want to tell it is, apparently with this Codex thing, because it can go for a long time, I want to see if it can break down some of this work into testable phases, because according to that documentation that we just read, that we should be able to think about this as an engineer and think about handing this off to like an intern, right? You wanted to say make sure you test your features before you land them. You can't just check them in and leave. You naughty boys and girls. So that's kind of basically the way I'm going to treat this thing. So I'm going to say that as well. So I'm going to see if I hit Shift Enter. Yes. Okay, cool. So I'm going to say, I want you to also, when you move it into active, kind of break down some of the work, because we're going to have some AI agents do the work that you're describing that still needs to be done. And they need to be broken down in different phases. So once they perform the work, they should be able to kind of test to make sure the work is working, and then running the bunx convex dev command, as well as the bun dev command to make sure everything is building and working okay, as well as the bun run build command. So that way any type issues are also resolved. And as we iterate and ship these things, they should continue to work and set itself up for the next phase as well. And so let's see that there. Okay, so I want to make sure that, it gets this. So bunx convex dev. This is really good. Bun run build. Okay, see, bun dev. Okay. Once it work, and then run bunx convex dev to make sure that everything is building and working okay with convex, as well as the bun run build commands. So the issues resolve. Okay, cool. All right, so I think this is a pretty hefty thing. We're still on the high. What I don't get here is how much context this is taken up, because in Cursor, what I like about Cursor is that it shows us how much context it's used. And typically when I use high, it will use up like 20 to 30% of the context immediately because it has to output so many tokens. And this model is not yet available inside of Cursor to be used. And so I'm really curious and actually any feedback to the OpenAI team, if you can actually allow us to see some of the context window being used here, that'd be super helpful, because I do like to start new chats and this is still pretty relevant. So I just kind of want to see where I'm at with this type of thing. Let me just catch up on the comments in a little bit. I'm a little bit behind. Can someone drop a link to how to spin up Codex in Cursor, please? It's more than just select a GPT-5. Yeah, so the way that I did it was, if you go into extensions, and if you type in Codex, you'll actually see it available in the marketplace. Go ahead and install that, and then you'll basically be up and running. So once you go to Codex, you go ahead and install it, and you'll be able to get it. And Codex is actually going to show up here on the top left. And so once you get it to show up on the top left, what you want to do there, like with Klein or something, you just drag this area right here, this little area, just drag that bar over into here, and then you'll be able to see it. So that'll be kind of its thing there. So yeah, that's the way that you'll be able to get Codex, by the way. So for those who are kind of wondering how to get this in Cursor and how to do that type of thing. Let's see. Hey, we met at the Vercel in SF guy doing the Ironmans. Oh, wow. I found a Codex to be a lot stronger, even Cloud Code. I have since canceled my Cloud Code Max, bro. We're in the same boat right now. I haven't canceled my Claude plan because I use the Pro, the $200 a month Opus so much with PDFs and other types of documents, and especially writing tasks. But for coding, I no longer trust the code because I've just experienced GPT-5 be so accurate and so thorough that I can tell now when Cloud Code is writing code, it's writing too much like ridiculous code, that it's kind of then convincing me that this is the right code to do. And so I really don't like that behavior, and I can really spot it now. The more I use GPT-5, the more I realize how bad Cloud Code is in terms of like gaslighting me. And it's like, yeah, I don't need that. I don't need that in my life. So why get that drama, right? So I feel you on that. Is this something different than the Codex CLI that comes with? No, this is the same. So this is available in all these different areas. So if we wanted to run this in the CLI, we can do the same thing. To me, I use Cursor a lot. So I like the Codex experience because it's like kind of agentic and it's still in here. And we should still be able to run this in the CLI and all that stuff. So yeah. I found it and I didn't realize I was using the extension. Okay, badass. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I'm supposed to go to bed soon. Not sure if it's going to happen now. Bro, that's what's up. It's only like about 5:51 here in Hawaii. So we're chilling for a while. Thanks for the setup. I just whipped up Codex in our Cursor. Yeah, dude. This is, yeah. I'm telling you, I think this is going to be the one that actually like takes over, and for a good reason, because dude, OpenAI has been cooking, and they literally cooked so hard. And going forward, this is the only model that I feel like people should be using. I feel like there's a couple things though. So I want to show you, and I'm going to be shipping more apps. So now that I have my live stream kind of set up again with my little studio here, this is my studio. So I got it set up here with the lights. I got the, outside Hawaii thing. So tomorrow morning, I'm going to be waking up and we're going to continue shipping some apps. So I'm going to be like live. I'm going to try to go on live at least 3 times a week. My goal is to try to do it every day, but sometimes I can't because like today I did paddling at 6 a.m. in the morning. And I want to code. I want to show you what I'm doing because I generate plans using Cloud Code and like more specifically Opus model. But that's kind of becoming less and less. But Opus is still a really good planner, right? So I like to get a plan, and check this out. If you get GPT-5 to do a plan and like start to critique it, when you have 2 different models with these different experiences, it gets really spicy, but it's really, really good. This is what you want. You want 2 intelligent people to duke it out. And then you can kind of review that plan, and that's what you want to really go forward with, right? So it's cool because it actually cross-pollinates different ideas, right? That's the reason why you work with 2 different people from different backgrounds, because you get 2 different experiences coming together. And so yeah, Opus to generate plans or feature work is really handy. Also with GPT-5, right? But GPT-5 is going to be my source of truth / grounding agents. So that's the agent that I will trust more, because I know it's not trying to like gaslight me, just to get whatever work done. So I don't think I need to do this TOML thing configuration, because I thought I was going to be able to I thought I needed to do that. So let me close others here as well. So yeah, how's the font size, by the way? Do I need to make it bigger or smaller? Would love your feedback as well. All right, so it says documentation. Relocated the unauthenticated specs. So it now moved my documentation to the right active area and marked it as active, adding active issues section. This is cool. Let's go ahead and review that. And then, so now we have this mega plan. So this is what I'm excited to have GPT-5 cook with. And you'll be surprised because I'm actually going to use the medium model and not the high model. And I'll explain why. So this captures the pagination, regression, admin override bug, missing public modal, and the newly reported responsive model layout system problem. Added the implementation tracker at, okay. Oh, interesting. So it broke it down into two different features. So we have the progress and we have the spec. So the spec is the big file that explains everything. And this is the progress for what it should be doing. So I think this is interesting here. So in this type of thing, let me just kind of show you what this looks like. I'm going to render the markdown here on the right side so you can see it. So this is what it did. It basically broke down my spec file into a smaller, like 34 line progress update. And this is what I want my AI agents to use. And so I'm curious to see, because we can also call the Codex CLI, or we can also go into GitHub and go to like open up a GitHub issue and say, hey, can you just start working on this feature and then take a look at the authenticated gallery and just continue the work there. And so the agent should be able to read through it. But so this is phase one. It looks like we're planned. So stabilization of public pagination, phase two, enforce this, phase three. So this is exactly what I wanted. I wanted all the features to be broken down into these different sections that can be testable and planning. So this is actually what it's going to do. And then here's the current tasks that it has to do. So this is really nice because like I don't have to use MCPs. I'm keeping everything very minimal and everything's currently done through code. And this is why I like to do this through code, because the code is like you check this stuff in, it's the source of truth. And then AI agents will always read the current state of that exact repo at that time. So if you make a branch and you start doing feature work, you know, you're going to, like the agents are going to update the code and keep the state of that branch at that specific moment. It also helps me when I go back into my project, I can figure out where I'm at and I don't have to depend on a third party or some other MCP. So that's why I like to do this type of style of coding. And I'll have some more for those folks who are in Discord. I'll let you know, like I talked a little bit about this, but I'm going to actually kind of drop some more of this knowledge. I want to actually get this set up so you can just do a shadcn install, and using the shadcn installer, you should be able to get this documentation file dropping into your project with just one command. So stay tuned for that. That's going to be really fire. All right. So let's go ahead and just tell OpenAI to now just really start cooking. Okay. So now that we have this set up, no commands were run. Next step is kick off phase one from the tracker and persist the public gallery pages. Okay. So okay, let's go ahead and, yeah, I'm just going to copy this and then going to go ahead and just create a new add context. Okay, so auto. Okay, so I'm just going to create a new chat and going to go and select, instead of high, I'm going to select medium for Codex. And so the reason why I select medium is for a couple of reasons. One is I'm going to paste this in here. We finished this. The documentation update. And so this way it has relevance to this. Let's go ahead and proceed with the next step. Proceed with the next step. Okay. And persist the public gallery pages and verify the listed test before moving into. Okay, cool. So I think, yeah, should be good here. Go, go, go. All right. This is going to do its thing. And then I'm going to close this file up here as well. X. Okay. So now it's going to review the relevant agent files. See, this is what I was telling you about the AGENT.md files. And it's going to check the present working directory of where we're at. And then that's what PWD means, by the way. Checking agents, documentation, planning. It's going to read more of the agent files. And now it's actually taking a look at my actual structure for my app to build the features here. This is really cool. So this is basically loading the context automatically. And it's because of the agent files. And remember how I was telling you all the relevance. This is why it's really important for the dynamic loading of the context, right? So it's going to load in the context that it needs specifically for making these features work for us. So yeah, let me go ahead and catch up on the comments because y'all have a lot of questions and stuff. So Claude, $100, OpenAI, $20, VS Code, $39 for Opus models availability from Zed. Okay. Yeah, that's what's up. The CLA has been great. Switched over to Cursor about 2 weeks ago, and I don't have a plan. Have a plan to fight with it like I did with Claude. Yeah, not cursor, Codex. Okay, yeah, Codex. It works for me exactly what I asked. Yeah, no, I like, so here's the other thing too, by the way. I like Cursor, and I've been using GPT-5 and Cursor. This model is not yet available inside of Cursor, and I hope it does land in there because I'm excited to use it. The reason why is because in Cursor, GPT-5 is like way less expensive. Like how less expensive do you say? For 100,000 tokens or so, it costs you like a penny or 2 pennies, right? And that's super handy because now you don't have to worry about like spending a lot of money. If you were basically, it's 10x the cost sometimes if you're using Sonnet or Opus, right? And you'll burn through your credits really fast. So $20 doesn't really go a long way if you're using Sonnet with Cursor Agent. But if you're using GPT-5 with Cursor, you can get $20, which makes you last a very long time, like a lot of requests. So it's really, really cool to use Cursor now using GPT-5 because one, it's really reliable, but two, now you have a really good agent, and people are throwing out this word called harness. And so harness basically just means it's this thing that sits on top of the model that grabs context and then understands what your code is doing. And within those harness, like Cloud Code is a harness, Cursor Agent is a harness, AMP Code, technically a harness that sits on top of the model. You have the same model, but their software basically will do this work for you with this various tooling that you have, like hooks, or you have sub agents, or you can have a variety of things that are doing in order for you to actually generate the code that you want. And so what I've found over and over as far as a pattern, and this is kind of the pattern I've developed, is making sure you have the right documentation set up so that the agents can follow it. So this persists no matter what AI agent you're doing, is to have this type of, planning available. So this has a README here as well. And this actually explains how I set up the README for this, and this is actually how I use to generate features. So whenever I'm like yapping about a feature, I literally just drag this README in as like, help me generate a feature to do X, Y, Z, and it actually has a spec template for how it generates the features for testing and verification, security concerns. Like all this stuff is super helpful, and it's only 109 lines, but then now all of my yapping turns into a really structured document, and GPT-5 loves structure. Like it is so good. And part of the secret sauce of GPT-5 is its own like verification step. And this is a little bit different from Claude Sonnet and the Claude models, because a lot of times they'll be like super confident. They'll drop the code on you saying, hey, it works. It's good, right? I'm out of here. And you're like, hey, that didn't fix it. And it's like, it writes a bunch of more code. It maybe even duplicates another function just to get it done. And it says, hey, we're done, right? And it doesn't even say we're done, right? It just says it's done. Yo, chill. And so that's why I like this new feature. Like this is, I think, the way that everyone should be doing stuff going forward, is to set up a structure just like this with documentation, a directory, like actually understanding how your features should be planned out with verifiable steps, as you can see here. And so that you can ask the agents now to generate features for you. And we see how we moved from the planned feature to the being active, and then it breaks it down into the actual like progress tracking. So the agents are now going to read these files at each specific step. It's going to continue, and then we're going to have some type of testable thing. So we can track all the changes by clicking this little file here, and this actually tells us in this little UI of what it's doing here. So now we have some changes coming into the public gallery. It's going to use effect. What else is it doing here? Yeah, show more now. Okay, this is cool. So I can do the diff inline. It's probably a lot easier to see this diff inline for me. I like to review my act and all this stuff. And so for me, I'm actually learning how to implement the features. That way I get a better sense of how to describe features in the future, by the way. So that's kind of a big reason why I do that. So Codex has its own tab here. And so it's still kind of building our feature for us. Let's just see where it's at right now. So it's reading the public gallery file. It's actually designing page state management. So this is really cool. I also learn a lot reading some of the output from this type of model here. So implementing code for modifications with apply patch. Okay, so so it's optimizing deduplication and imports, making sure the duplication maps. Okay, this is really great. Also clean up the unused memos imports. This is so good. So Bunix dev run once. This is awesome. So it already finished working. Wow. Okay, that's a pretty big feature it landed. And I did medium, by the way. And so cache the public gallery feed client side so previously fetched pages persist across pagination. So this was my problem before, because every time I went into the gallery, it would try to hit convex, come back, and it would just kind of take a long time. And it dedupes by image ID and tracks. This is a great implementation. Let's take a look at some of the code changes. One of the things I also appreciate about GPT-5 is how minimal implementation, like it doesn't like to overwrite or like write tons and tons of code. It prefers to do less code, which is actually another big reason why I like this model. It's too good. It's too good. All right. So let's go ahead and just stage this change. And I think I'm already running things, but I'm just going to go ahead and kill the terminal here, do bun x convex dev. And I'm going to do the command like little backslash thing. And I'm going to open up another window in parallel. I just want to make sure our functions are deployed. And then I'm going to do bun dev and making sure our stuff is running. Okay, cool. It's running down there. And then I think we're good, right? So localhost 3000. Let me see this here. So I should be able to run it. Okay. Let's see. Okay. And then if I go into here, private gallery, let me see if I can. Okay. Let me just refresh the page here. Okay. So it's doing a thing. And then are we crashing or anything like that? No, we're still good. Public gallery. Okay. So what's happening here? I don't think we got a lot of changes. Okay. Let's go back here. Cache the public gallery feed client side. So previously fetched across pagination. Okay. So now that it's here, it should be cached. So if I like refresh again, maybe because it's a private browser too. So let's see. Yeah. Okay. It's pretty like speedy. If I refresh, it should have a cache now. So if I can hit load more, yeah, it's like instant now because it's already downloaded everything. Okay, that's cool. Now it's downloading the images. If I hit refresh, this is a nice little test. Load more. Yeah. So now it loads them pretty much instantly. That's pretty cool. I could even have some other optimizations if I wanted to. When I hit before I click load more, that it would actually, before I click it, it would do like a prefetch or something like that. But I'm happy with this. I mean, this is a V0. I'm literally just trying to see if people actually use the app and upload images and generate them. So like these are real life photos and then it turns them into like something really funny, which is really awesome. So yeah. Okay, cool. So this looks pretty good. So one of the things I do in Cursor is generate a commit by hitting those little stars here. And then I just pretty much YOLO check this stuff in. I always like checking the code. Okay, cool. So that's another thing. See, I don't think these agents have a rollback feature. So you can't say, I want to roll back specifically to this chat. Yeah, I don't see anything in here that says that you can do that. But that's why I basically just do git and just kind of check stuff in. So cache the gallery. I run this. Okay. It ran. Okay. Recommended manually spot checking. Okay. Let's move on to phase 2. Cool. All the changes look great. Let's go ahead and move on to phase 2. Cool. Nice. All right. Cool. That's awesome. That was pretty awesome. How much do you pay for Codex? Currently $20. Yeah, just $20 a month is all you need until you hit a rate limit. But most people haven't really been hitting that. I've been using GPT-5 since it launched thanks to the free Cursor credits, and it's been a huge upgrade, especially when OpenAI rolled out the Codex. Bro, I'm telling you, this model is cracked. It's so good. Yeehaw, Hawaiian. Fried shrimps for me, sir. Yeah. That's what's up. Y'all playing right now. I pay the $200, but people have been saying rarely hit limits on the $20 a month plan. Yeah, I'm paying $200 a month too. And bro, I feel like, yeah, I feel fancy. All right, let's see. Yeah, I'll increase it if I need to. Exactly. But that's what's encouraging. I'm doing the same with the $20 on Claude, down from the 100. But I'm glad to invest whatever works. Bro, I don't think many people are saying this, but like GPT-5 has crushed has crushed Claude in terms of pricing. Like this model is so good at following instructions. And if you take some of these tips that I've been showing you with getting these AGENTS.md files and getting those things lined up, you are going to be cooking so hard with such a like inexpensive but very smart model. And like you're seeing right now, I just ran medium. I don't need to run high. I don't need to kill all this context. We did a lot of work already with our planning. GPT-5 High So let's kind of think about the mental model. Previously, I was using Claude Opus to like really use that leverage of the intelligence of the model with extended thinking to look through all the files of my code, right? So that's what I'm doing now with GPT-5 High, right? I use the High model to generate the spec, the plan, and all the different things that we need to implement. And then when I'm ready to cook, I either use low or I use medium. And low or medium will get you amazing results because we've already done a lot of that work. And all that work is already being referenced in these files. And because the model is already going to do this, like specifically the Codex model, and this is the promise here, and this is what's been shown on the benchmarks, is that hopefully it has more built-in mechanisms to be more agentic. And we're seeing that coming in here firsthand, right? All these extra steps that it's doing to follow and read the agents files, it's reading my code, it's understanding. And this is actually, you know, what Cursor does as far as its own harness and some of these other models too. And this is really, really nice. It's searching for the different features and stuff. It's reviewing the image model components and like taking a look at that and preparing the UI for the update. So it's doing all this really nice processing. And it's even searching for like errors and stuff and considering error handling and state updates. Who does this? This is crazy, right? I didn't tell it to. My plan didn't tell it, but it knows, and the intelligence of the model is there. And the promise is huge here. So start with the High because it consumes a lot of context, right? You only have like 256 to 300K tokens in that context window, or just say 260, right? If you have 260K tokens context window, you do a couple requests on High, you're going to eat up probably half of it right away. And you don't want to break through more than 50% because it starts to kind of degrade its output really fast. That's why once we get that plan, switch it over to the medium model, create a new chat, just start cooking with medium. Medium or low, you start cooking, you'll be able to cook for quite some time. And hey, bro, like I think this is going to be the new paradigm, and is like going to cost you way less, way less than using Claude Sonnet. But this is so crazy right now. I'm really hyped. I'm so happy because I feel like this is, yeah, man, this is too good. This is too good. All right, so it's even doing its test right now. I think it wrote some files. Oh, somebody just generated an image. Y'all are testing this right now, so I think that's what's kind of cool. Let's see what's going on with any of the times. Cursor plans are prepaid API plans, essentially. Turn me off, okay. Programmer, just a marketing bro with some creative ideas. Yeah, I heard the UI can really cook. Neither am I, but I make dumb financial decisions. I'm a cybersec guy. I use it for notes research. Okay, cool. Yo, Davidas, how's it going, man? Thank you for also being a member, kind of joining in. I also updated the membership badges, by the way, if you see the new fire emojis and stuff for everyone. So that's what's up. Exactly. It's way cheaper now. I used to spend $100 on Cursor to $30 on OpenRouter, and now it's just $40 total for Cursor and ChatGPT, bro. That's what's crazy. Yeah, that's what's up. So here's something new that I haven't seen yet, by the way. And let me just move this comment so you can see it. So it says 1 out of 4 tasks completed. I have not seen this from Codex, but this looks like it's something new. So, or it may have been there. I just never really triggered it. So this is really cool. I don't know if you know, like they were able to get this to run for 7 hours. And I'm thinking plans like the one that I had that were pretty epic. Like I think they just gave it like 1 giga plan and just said, keep cooking, right? And so it's now doing its little thing here with reviewing the backend mutation. It's going to update the convex status and then adjusted front-end modal to respect the admin locks and communicate reason to the user. This is amazing. It's even running the checks itself that we described to confirm phase 2 health checks. This is awesome, right? If I wanted to, I could just say implement the whole plan, but I like this way of landing things. And this is like actually going back to the traditional software engineering model. When I worked at Apple, and in any company you work at, in any major fan company, they have these things where like you'll have a sprint. So everyone's working away, shipping software and stuff. And then usually at the end of the sprint, they'll have like QA and a bunch of people checking stuff to make sure the feature is working or it's landing the way it's supposed to. There's a bunch of feedback. There's a bunch of bugs that get logged and fixed. And then they decide, are we still on track? Can you ship the feature? Is it what we think it is so far? And then you move on to the next sprint. And so you just basically kind of keep doing that over and over again. And what you're secretly seeing me do is kind of make a minified version of that in our code, right? Each phase is technically a sprint, but I didn't say that, right? Like the model kind of figured that out. And I like testing it along the way because sometimes I make a lot of assumptions about things and you don't really know until you start really testing the model to kind of get that sauce from it. So it's really cool. It's a pleasure to watch GPT-5 on Medium right now. We're using GPT-5 new Codex. It's cooking super hard right now. So yeah, that's what's up. Yeah, surprisingly, I'm spending more time with Cursor, Cloud Code, Gemini CLI. A couple months ago, it was just pure Claude desktop. Yeah, and MCP servers. Yeah. When Codex improvements, subagents is going to get bro. I don't know. So here, I have a subagent theory. I think that subagents may not be the thing that we're looking for because they work in their own independent area, and I feel like there's still a lot of optimizations to do. So unless it's like a very specific research tasks, I feel like subagents can be really useful there. For writing code, there's a lot of overlap that can happen sometimes. And unless you give it very specific concerns saying you're only working on this front end feature that doesn't impact anywhere else, a subagent can be really good for that. And otherwise, like a lot of times it's handing back summarized context to the main model, and it may or may not be relevant. It could even throw off the main model off its course of what it's doing. So I prefer to kind of write things down in like a spec file like this, and then just kind of sequentially kind of work through it. Or even have some different models kind of work through it and check each other work at different parts of the implementation. So if I really wanted to, I could have another model that would just go in and try to like physically test things, but that's still really not yet reliable. And I'm just kind of curious. So what extension is this in Cursor? So in Cursor, if you go up here, just type in Codex. So you're just going to go up here where it says extensions, type in Codex, and you'll see this one from OpenAI. That's the one you want. And then from there, you're just pretty much off to the races. So then you would just drag the header of that that says Codex and just drag it up here. So you'll see it next to your chats and stuff. That way you'll have it available so that you can, start doing that type of thing. So I would like to see this. Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, good stuff for sure. I think the best out of the plans is that they're month to month. Yes. Yeah. I don't know about you guys, but like these plans change so fast. I mean, in literally like the last 6 months, all of this stuff has really changed. So the hardened feature toggle mutation to respect the modern locks by blocking owner re-enables and returning the moderator's reason for visibility while leaving the admin flags untouched. Sync the model settings in the panel with that server logic. Admin lock features now render. Nice. So it even ran its like the bun test. This is really cool. I like that it does this. Manually confirm admin disable images, show the new messaging, blocked toggle. So let's just go to the code really quick. I just want to see what it did here. So I'm going to just kind of remove this. And so, okay, this is cool. So it added is featured, is set, and this is for the image modal. So the modal will now say locked by admin, and it's checking is disabled. So this is cool. This is awesome. Okay, this is great. Very simple, like succinct, simple code. I know it took a while just to generate like this little code, but like I like this way better than just hallucinating a bunch of code here. So now on Convex, the actual backend, it's now actually has a rule here saying if is disabled by admin, pop up this error, and that's what it's going to send over to the front end. This is great. So if update feature status. All right, cool. Let's just check this in. Let's go ahead and just kind of, I'm going to restart this type of thing here. And then restart this one as well, because we made some code changes. Usually TurboPack kind of complains about stuff. All right, let's go back. So let's go here. Somebody did some horses. That's cool. Yeah. This is cool. So yeah, you see kind of drew some things in. If you like reprocess the image, I'm able to do something here. So we still have that other bug where if you have something that's kind of out of view, it'll kind of still show it there. So in here, it'll say feature in public gallery and then enable sharing. So if I disable it or something, I think I have an admin route /admin. I just want to double check. Okay. So yeah, this is where I can enable or disable stuff. So if I say, like for this one, if I disable the context route one, YOLO bro, disable image. Okay, cool. So now if I go back to my thing in here, so users don't actually have like per images, like gallery. So yeah, so in here, like if I wanted to go and it says moderators, removed by moderators, YOLO bro. This is cool. So I'm going to put the little plus sign. You can kind of see it. So yeah, at the very bottom, it basically says that. So I can't toggle it back on. This is cool. We shipped that feature. Now it's set. Before this type of thing, any user can turn it back on again. So now it just says disabled by the moderators, which is awesome. That's pretty cool. So yeah, it's a little confusing here. I know I have a lot of different things, but basically you can just drop an image in. So I'll show you what this does. I'll drop an image of like my puppy, my friend, me. So this is a pretty cool one. So I'll upload this photo and you'll see it's going to upload it and it uses convex to the backend and it's going to do a call to Google Gemini and you'll see it do this little processing here. So if you're actually looking at this app right now in real time, you'll actually see the processing and you'll see this image being processed. So anyone, like 5 people can be uploading images, you'll see them all 5 at the same time. And you can kind of see Google Gemini basically turns my salad into this cool cartoon drawing and makes it like this really cool anime 3D effect or 2D effect with the actual, as a single item or a specific thing in the actual photo. So it's really cool. It's really nice because it's very generic. It doesn't matter what type of photo you upload. It should be able to do it with specific items it chooses. And that's all prompt based. So this is really cool that it's even like, I mean, for me, this is really cool, but there's also other styles that I can do. And this was just an experiment because I want to see if this is actually something that people will actually pay for in the future. So I'm testing out this cool micro app. And so, yeah, this totally landed the feature. Holy smokes. Man, we're cooking with GPT-5. So this is GPT-5 Codex, and we did this on Medium. Beautiful. 38 lines of code changed. We removed 6 lines of code. I'm going to just go ahead and hit this little star thing up here and can make the changes. This is looking good. All right, cool. Sync the changes. Man, bro, you cooked. I really appreciate the work you did here. So I've confirmed that the admin disabled shows the new messaging and a block toggle is there as well. So let's go ahead and get ready for phase 3 and start cooking. I just like to talk to my model that way. That way it knows I'm training their model to sound like me so that in the future, if you see this specific reply saying I'm cooking or something, you know, they came from this show, right? You know, it came from this live stream. So that's how you know we're cooking, fam. So that's what's up. So yeah, let me catch up with the comments. Okay, cool. Codex is wild. I just finished a 60-minute run. It's stupid good. Oh, yes. Try this in the CLI shard. I run 20. Really? Oh, wow. So is the CLI faster? I'm really curious. $20 Codex test run, paying for Cursor GPT-5 or just using GPT Plus. And the $200 a month max plan on Cloud Code, but want to give this a go. Man, I would just pay for the GPT-5 Chat GPT Plus account. And then the Plus account will let you use this inside of Cursor using the Codex plugin that we're using right now. So that way Cursor is still your IDE of choice. To be honest, if you cancel that $20 a month plan, now you have, or $200 a month plan, now you have $200 to throw at a couple of different things. $20 a month on Cursor will get you a long way with GPT-5 already, but already popping in to use Codex. So let's just say you max out on the Codex usage. You can still flip over to Cursor and start using the model there. So you're pretty much good. So 246. You could even pay $20 a month still and have access to Sonnet in the CLI. But at that point, I mean, like we're GPT-5 gang right now. But it's still good to have another model like Opus kind of recheck your things every so often, right? I mean, you're not going to use it all the time, but it kind of rebalancing the funds. I've seen recommendations on X there for a de facto starter file. For this kind of work. But is there, Zach, if you can kind of explain a little more, I kind of want to see what's going on. Please show us how you generated the agent files for your project on your next project and video. I've been looking for a good video on this. Yeah, Doom, you know, I'm going to do that. I have a dedicated video set up. So I think what I'll do tomorrow morning is I'll kind of walk you through how I set this up because I also did this for a hackathon. I participated in a hackathon for Honolulu Tech Week. And this is where I discovered how to scope projects because I had such a large scope and I basically built like a giant SaaS for them. But I was only able to do I only had 3 hours and it's fully featured, like admin login, has like an event viewer. So the event viewer can do all these different steps. But the problem is like I didn't have enough time to finish it and really kind of polish and add all the other features I wanted to add. I only got through phase 1 of 3 and it was like a giant feature. So I was so excited that I continued coding it the rest of the day and I've almost finished it. I'm going to give it to them. So now basically when people sign up to do events, it's going to hit the Luma API. It's going to do all kinds of really cool stuff. And I was only able to move fast because I had this documentation type of stuff. So yeah, Doom, I got you on that and I'm going to definitely take care of you, making sure that I get that documented because the video is taking me a little bit longer to plan, but I want to make sure that I'm respectful of your time and I deliver just pure value for the video. So it will be one of these videos you can always go back to and reference it. So it's going to be like however long it needs to be, but I want to make sure that it's just like value packed and no fluff type of thing, you know? So that's kind of why. Thank you. Well explained. Starting in wrap my own head around it. Yes. Try this CLI shard. Okay. Oh, I think that's what you're saying earlier. What's to stop me from using a second account for Claude GPT, swapping out the API key and keep, I mean, there's nothing really, you know, I mean, cause you're not really passing along a lot of history. Yeah, I don't think there's anything. Yeah. The plan. Okay. So the plan to-do list was there. Okay. Session context, nothing else. Okay. Okay, cool. I think Opus is available for Cloud Code on the Max plan. Yeah. It's only available for the $100 a month plan. It's not available for the $20 a month plan, FYI. You can use it in the web, but then yeah, that's what it is. So mine doesn't show the files being edited like this. Is it running all the CLI commands to edit this code? Why is that? I'm using the plugin, which is called Codex. So it's an extension you can download from, if you're using VS Code, you can do that, or you can use it in Cursor, which is what I'm doing right now. Okay, so are you using, yeah, exactly. I think the experience here is really smooth. I love the experience so far too. I'm really liking it a lot. It's probably the best way to use it because it's very similar to, I like my command line stuff, but at the same time, I also like my GUIs. So my GUIs is basically my graphical user interfaces, and using the agent inside of Cursor has been really, really nice. But to be honest, I'm not going to lie, this new model is fire. It's so fire inside of here. The only reason why I would use Cursor to do some type of agentic tasks, even using GPT-5 High, is because web search. So web search for Cursor is really, really good. So whatever Cursor is doing to grab information, to do the indexing is really good. I have not had a lot of good luck with the command line interface or the Codex like plugin for it to go search up documentation. Sometimes it will say it did. And when I look at the responses, I look that it actually didn't really parse it. It was trying to use curl or was trying to do something else. And it just gets this really, spaghetti website. And so I find out to actually just use Cursor and it just does a lot better. You can probably do an MCP call for this as well, but to be determined. And that's kind of why I want to give you a heads up on that. So yeah. Let's see. To show the diffs, what I end up doing is I select one of the files in here, and that's how I see the diffs. But OpenAI's Codex actually lets you see it where you say track all changes. They'll pop in their own diff view for their own model. So in here, you'll see a thing called Codex. It's a whole tab here. So let me just kind of remove the comments so you can kind of see this here. Let me make sure. I have a couple different things going on with my windows and just want to make sure I got everything settled. So in here, if you see at the very bottom, it says track changes here. So and these are the files that are currently being changed. If you hit that, it's going to pop in this new tab. And in this tab up here, you'll actually see Codex, and it's going to describe it this way. So you have two different views. You have the side-by-side unified, or you can do the inline. I prefer inline because it's just easier to read for me top down, just in one fell swoop of what's going on. So this is this is cool. It's actually I don't know if I'd be doing that convention, but okay, whatever. Sometimes you just got a vibe, right? So that's a public image model. This is cool. What is this? That's nasty. What is this? What is it doing? Public image model. Why is it doing this? I don't like this. Oof. Yeah, we're gonna have to have a chat. Let's see what I might be hitting my context limit. By the way, I basically have done all three phases using Medium, and I probably could have just opened up. Like I could have probably just. So this is kind of why I wanted to experiment, and this is why I'm doing it live, because you can kind of see me struggling along. One of the things I probably could have done is say, can you just update the documentation on the current status of these phases? And then I'll just going to start a new chat and just start working on that. That way I'll have much fresher context. But there's a couple of things that happen, and this is kind of why I left it in the same chat. And this is kind of where I'm still experimenting with this here right now. One is I can fix bugs after each phase by going to the high model. So in Cursor, there's an option to duplicate the chat. So if you've already worked very hard to what I call context priming, so you've asked the model to dig through a lot of documentation, and it already has done through all the previous history still there for the model to kind of take that forward. And then you can switch the model to high to then go fix a bug that you want or fix an implementation, right? So like this implementation is looking a little ugly for me. And I could say, hey, I'm going to switch to High real quick. I'm going to create a new chat or something like that. I'm going to duplicate this and just going to go fix that bug. And then I can go back to the previous chat and start working on that. But in here, I don't see a duplicate chat option because with Codex, I just see history, new chat. That's it. So if for me, a feature request would be awesome if I can duplicate this chat. Like at the previous phase, I'll say, let's go ahead and just kind of do some polish work. You know, I'm not really liking these changes that just landed and just kind of let it do its thing, right? Or I could just say, what I'm probably going to do is going to go, after this is done, I'm going to create a new chat. I'm going to say, can you just please review the work that you just did and see if you can kind of fix some bugs? I don't really like this way of doing things here, and see if you can kind of find a better way to do that. It is possible that it could have even fixed itself, by the way. I don't know. I'm just kind of being very picky about this. So let's kind of take a look at the code and see what's up. So this is kind of why I like to review it. So this is a whole new file. Damn, we cooked, fam. So yeah, this is like, what is this? See, this is like, what? Feature transform preview. Oh, this is nasty. That's nasty. GPT-5, you nasty. Public image model. So if forever selected image is going to open and close the model. So this is where it goes into this type of thing. So I think that's what's kind of going on here. Let me just check everything, and it looks like somebody's generating some new images here. Import traces. Yeah, let me just rebuild everything here. Run build, and just run the build. Just make sure it still builds correctly. I'm really impressed how it's been building my app the entire time and following the principles. And like basically every single time, I have not really had it generate code and just kind of completely fall off the bus, right? Like super blown away GPT-5. Like this is so crazy. So this is GPT-5 Codex, and we're running it on Medium. And so it's generated this files here. And let me just come back over here and just kind of refresh. So this should be pulling down our new page here. All right, so what do we have here? We have the share link, and let me just copy the share link and just open up here. I'm just curious to see what the public view looks like right now. Create your own. Yeah, okay. Let me just kind of go to the other one over here. Just unlock it. Okay, so if I go into here and I just kind of paste it. Create your own. Cool. Oh, it's taking forever. Yeah, I think my server is a little slow. Okay. Yeah. Dang, son. Yeah. Okay, cool. So what else do we do here? So wire the public gallery cards to an accessible read-only model to keep selections in sync with refresh query data. Okay, so unauthenticated viewers can expect featured images without losing pagination state. Okay, smoke test on desktop, close phase 3 checklists. Okay, so what I want to go ahead and do is just tell it to, so I'm going to check this stuff in, and I'm going to say I don't really like the changes, and I'm going to fix some stuff, but I'm just going to make sure I generate a commit message so that I can keep rolling here. So needs fixes. So that way my future self can go back. Okay, commit. And let me sync these changes. Okay. So can you just please update the documentation as far as where we're at so far so that we can continue the work in a new chat? Okay. So I'm going to do that there. And now it's basically, okay. So it should update these active documentation. So it's, yeah. So it's doing a bash command, and now it's actually updating the progress. And this is an AGENT.md file that's currently in this documentation folder, and you can see it actually reading it. So now it's actually going to follow the rules following that type of thing. So it's now reading the actual file, and it's going to now update that. So this is really great. This is exactly what I wanted to do. So yeah. Codex works fine with / command and subagents. Do you think they really add value? Subagents? Not really. I mean, for research, probably yes, if you know what I mean. So yeah. I'm trying to figure out what you guys are talking about. Agents.md. Yes. I think it's agents with a S. Yeah. Could you please tell me what is available on the web? I'm GPT Plus user. On the web? You mean like just going to the actual ChatGPT? So I think if you just go to ChatGPT, you should be able to select the actual model to use for coding. So I think it's something like, yeah, let me just double check, chatgpt.com. So it says GPT-5 thinking. And then I think if you just do like some type of coding task, is it Canvas? Agent mode, use connectors, study and learn, web search, Canvas. Yeah. Instant, auto. Yeah. I don't understand where it's available yet on the web, but we'll have to look this up because this is for the IDE extension. So they'll have local Codex Cloud. So that's for the cloud. The review for code review. This is what you can do for code review. You can just at Codex review. That's pretty fire, actually. That's awesome. Because I pay $40 a month for BugBot with Cursor, and it's really, really good. So that'd be really interesting. I don't see where they're talking about. So this is interesting. It's included in Plus, Pro, Business, EDU, Enterprise. Scales with your plan. Business plan can capture credits. API key, you want to make GPT. Okay, so we're going to make this available via the API soon for developers. This is great. Okay, cool. Shoot, this is awesome. But I don't see the web part that they're talking about. So if someone figures that out or lets me know, I'd love to hear more about it. But to get started, it looks like you can just Codex Web. So, oh, I see. Okay, here we go. Check this out. I'm going to pop this over here. So if you go to chatgpt.com/codex on the side, open it. So if you click, I think in ChatGPT on the side, if you click Codex, that's where you'll be able to see it. So on the side here, so chatgpt.com. And then if you go to the sidebar, when you open the sidebar, you'll see your apps, and that's where you hit Codex. And that's actually where it shows up in here now. Okay, that's where you get it from. Okay, so if you didn't see that, if you just go to the sidebar on the side in ChatGPT, it's going to show this little Codex icon, which is what you see here. And that's where you're able to do this. So this is actually where, this is like the web version. And so on the web, you can actually kick off these agents that run in the cloud. And they actually said that the performance of this is way faster now. So what that means is that like to spin up the environment should be able to run this pretty fast. So do we have any other branches? You know, I should have made some new branches for this and I didn't. So that'd be interesting. We may have to take a look at that because I want to see if I can fix some bugs remotely. So it updated the tracker to reflect the progress for phase 3. Okay, the new modal wiring is logged. The specs active issues and now mirrors this. Okay, so no code or build changes were made for this documentation pass. Yeah, okay, cool. So now it's just updated these phases and then over here as well. So let me just kind of double check these. I like to kind of see what this looks like. Cool. So we still have phase 4, which is fix the response model modal layout. And so this is maybe something I could just see if they could do on the web for us. That'd be really interesting. Responsive layout fixes for, okay, cool. This is awesome. So does it say QA sign off? Touch QA before sign off. Okay, this is cool. I was like, dang, this is funny. Recent QA and code review uncovered functionality gaps. I like how it's like January 2025. I think that was probably when I did it through Claude. Okay. So these were the resolved gaps, and this is still in progress. Missing read-only modal. Okay, and planned layout. Okay, and I think what I also add is I'm going to add another feature, which is going to be each user should be able to view their own gallery images. So there should be this concept of a public gallery and a personal user gallery. So I might add that as a part of the feature work here. And this is kind of what I'll probably do. Why not just continue this conversation here? So, okay. Actually, I'm just going to create a new chat. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to use the web for that. So on the web, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to ask or code. Okay. So describe a task. Can I add files in here? No. Okay. I'd love to be able to add files. So in here, there's a local and there's a cloud button. So I can run something in the cloud. So that way I can just run it in the background while it's still working because it's not going to be related to any code in here. It's just all about updating our spec. So this is what I'm going to go ahead and do. I'm just going to have the authenticated. Okay, so I'm going to give it these 2 files. So we're going to test like the web feature. and we're gonna see how fast it spins it up. So this will be really fun. Okay, cool. So now that we're in here, I'm gonna say, what should we say? Oh, okay. I've just realized that I want to have each user's photos available to them so they can see their own photos in the gallery. And as of now, the gallery is currently public. Once someone signs in, they'll see everyone's photos being generated in real time. And what I want to do is have a premium feature where it can allow them to have a private gallery. So in the future, I'm going to be able to charge for this. And so that way, every photo they generate, they can have it show up in their private gallery and then enable it to be public in the public gallery, if you know what I mean. If you know what I know what I mean. That way it's show in the private gallery and then enable the public gallery. Okay, cool. Yes. So I'm just going to say, what I need you to do is to go ahead and review the current specs that we've outlined and see and generate a new plan that we can work on that can implement this feature following and then I'm going to give it the README file here. README, documentation, guidelines. So in the README file here, I actually have these guidelines as far as like how it should generate this spec and this feature. And so this is what happens. Whenever you're doing feature work, you always have new stuff that comes up, and it's just good to get this type of stuff documented. And this is perfect for cloud work because I don't need this running locally and taking up my time. I just need this to go off and make sure I don't forget about this feature, right? So just like this, I just kind of gave it some of the specs, and then we're going to just say use local changes. Sure. Yeah. So yeah, I think that should be fine. I've checked everything in though, so I don't think it matters. In the cloud, I'm just going to have it check use the cloud changes, right? The remote branch on main. Yeah. Number of parallel attempts for Codex to make. I think one is fine. Okay. So then I can't select the model. That's really interesting. So I'm thinking it's going to use GPT-5 by default, but we're going to find out. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the cloud. This is going to be the first time I've run this, by the way, for this new model. And so we'll see. So I'm really curious to see what happens now. So it's going to be working on our task, and we have a task history. So in here, in Codex, theoretically, now we should see this starting container. This is awesome. Okay, cool. Let me make this bigger so we all can see this. Man, this is a fire stream, by the way. I really like that we're just kind of discovering this stuff together because it's really fun to kind of cook with everyone live. Wow. Okay. We have quite a bit of people checked in on X, like 600 plus. Oh, like 500. That's wild. And we're like 58 people on YouTube. Damn, this is a fire stream. Yeah, this is cool. This is what I do though. I like to code with AI. And if you're into this type of thing, I'm actually planning to have like a private session, and that'll only be able to take like 5 people. So I'm going to try to see if I can get a waitlist type of thing set up for some people who are really interested. If you're in my Discord, let me know if you're interested. It'll be like a private mentorship thing, but you'll get to kind of ship features or ship code. I'll get to work with you one-on-one. It'll be like a super uber private session. Basically, you'll get to save a lot of time, and I'll be able to walk you through, what the stuff that I do with agentic coding and speed up your whole workflow. So if you're digging this type of thing, I think let me know, and I'll try to, set up something so I could do that formally. So I just thought about this, today, and I thought, I should be doing this more often. So, because there's a lot of people who need help. So right now it's basically doing its thing. Can we see what model it's running? What's this show here? Okay. So this is cool. Let's go ahead and view the log. I want to see. Oh, this is awesome. This is fast. This is really, so here's the other thing, by the way. Cursor has this thing called background agents. So background agents does this exact thing. So for $20 a month, with ChatGPT Plus, you get this, which is like already included in your plan, plus a GPT-5 Codex, low, medium, high. You can use it in the command line. You can use it on the web like this. This is a crazy deal right now. This is probably like one of the best deals that we have available to us right now. And we're like, you can totally cook with this, like oh, this is, to me, this is, it's an exciting time to be alive, to be using this stuff. So I'm just kind of, I like reading through this stuff on. So it says internet is on. So it's going to search the web if it needs to. And now it's examining the repo. It's basically searching through, and it's actually taking a look at my documentation. So I like this because that actually shows me more details than I couldn't normally see in here. So if we take a look in here in our codex, it says you're viewing a cloud task, and you can kind of see it doesn't actually tell us exactly what's going on. And that's okay. I mean, we don't necessarily need to see it because it's happening on the cloud. And here in the cloud, I'm showing you exactly what it's doing. It's even reading through that documentation file that I told you about, right? So, man, this is crazy. So it's reviewing the instructions. Now it's actually taking a look at code. It's doing a whole bunch of stuff. Maybe there's no planned folder. I'll check the documentation or features to confirm. So it's actually taking a look at this type of thing. I like how it's outputting this reasoning. This is really, really cool. So now I'm going to let the cloud thing do its thing. So we'll kind of let that go in the background. And in the meantime, I could just continue with phase 3 because they don't need to actually work with each other. This is a planning task, and planning tasks are perfect for background agents or background task stuff because it doesn't really interfere with what we're going to go ahead and do with shipping new features. So I'm going to hit the new chat feature, and we have that here. And now we're back to local here. It says run locally, agent full access, and we're back to Codex medium. So now we're going to go ahead and tell it to do some more work. So I think now we're going to move on to the last phase. Okay, so continue progress and spec. Okay, so at progress. Okay, on authentic progress, and then at spec. Okay, cool. We're continuing the work, and I believe we're on the next phase of work here for our bug fixes. Okay, so let me make sure, everything's checked in. And I'm just going to review myself. I think it's phase 4, right? Yeah. Please, or we'll continue our work with the remaining phases. Okay. Please continue the work with the remaining phases left in the progress and specs. Okay. So now I'm just going to let GPT-5 Medium Codex do its thing. I love this model so much. Like, I don't know if you know this, but I love this model. Yeah. Let me catch up with the comments. I'm a little bit behind, so that's what's up. Yo, Revolant, how's it going? I've seen AGENT.md file, but the place of where you get your AGENT.md files kind of work. I was trying to say, oh, I see. Okay. So I think one of the things that I'll probably want to go over later on in the stream is how we generate the agents.md file. You just do /init and it'll actually generate the first agents.md file. But I have a thing called Cursor. In Cursor, there's these rules files called convex rules. And so convex has these rules files. If you search up AI rules, they have them available for you. But as you can see, this file is super duper long. So I don't always want to feed it into the context whenever I'm doing work. So instead, I want it to be broken up. And this is kind of where I can feed it to the /init with GPT-5 Codex or with /cursor. In Cursor, when you're working in the chat, you do /generate cursor rules. So if you do this, and then you can feed it this convex rules file, and then you can tell it some additional instructions saying, I want you to generate rules files for my project, and I use convex on the front end and the back end, and making sure that the rules are generated for these types of, for whenever I'm generating code or working and adding new features. And I also have a documentation folder. I also drag that one in. So I drag in the whole features documentation README into this as well. And that's where it actually starts to kind of really play together well. And that's how you basically start to, in essence, orchestrate all these agents working together so that it knows about, how you write documentation, which is super important, right? You want to keep track of those agents when they're doing work. 2, when they're generating features, they're aware of this concept called convex, right? Like, what does it do? What types of rules, and then starts to break apart that large file into smaller pieces so that it can only pull it in when it's doing work in those specific folders. And then the other thing too is if you're working with ShadCN, you will also want to say that I'm using Tailwind CSS v4 with ShadCN in my Next.js project, and it should already kind of know that. But also, it's not a bad idea to tell it. So then and for me specifically, I use bun. So I say, in order to install my shadcn components, I use bunx, shadcn, whatever it is. And then it uses that convention to install the components. So trying to automate as much of that work as possible so that these agents kind of know what they're cooking with, if you know what I mean. So if I scroll all the way to the right, I should see the Codex tab now. And now it's basically going through and checking the actual file and the documentation. And it's now actually going to figure out and reload the context to work on phase 3 and 4 requirements. And then now it's actually going to go ahead and do the work. So we can see the tasks that are set up here. So it's going to review the spec. Now it's going to implement the layout and run its thing. This is really beautiful. I love watching this kind of agentic work being done on the code. And it's at a good pace. It's not like we're killing ourselves here, but it's also very manageable. That's the whole point. If you can manage it, then so can agents, right? I have a Copilot X as well, but I'm using that right now. But I use GPT mostly for question and answers, for research, for studying visualization. For code writing, man, you got to get on this for sure. But you know what what's the limits of Codex Desktop is? It's the same as a CLI, and I think we can go pretty far. Yo, Niston, is it Gucci? Bro, major Gucci right now. I'm basically having it do all my work for me. And I'm having Codex in the cloud generate new features. So I just thought about a new feature that I wanted, and I'm having the agent go do the work. But part of the reason is because I have really good rules, files, and documentation procedures. And that's probably the biggest thumbs up that y'all need right now is you need to have this in your repo. And if you are watching and you've made it this far, y'all need to know, you already know what to do right here. So hit the thumbs up because it really does help a long way. So have you been using CLI, Ray? I have not. I've tried it, but I had a bug where I couldn't update the CLI. I just fixed it last night. So now I have that all set up. So because I had an issue with my Codex CLI, I didn't realize I installed the NPM global package versus when I was using Bun. A big configuration issue, but I finally got that resolved. So that's what's up. y'all are smashing it. I will sometimes open Claude, Gemini, ChatGPT, Web, so I can ask one-off questions about CSS styles. Yeah. Now, man, I feel like the era, this is the GPT-5 era right now. We're in this last quarter of the year, the lock-in era. If you're not using GPT-5, you're not locked in. No, I'm not trying to gaslight. I don't get paid. I don't get anything. I get really good joy when models actually follow my instructions, right? And also when models don't gaslight me, right? Part of the reason why I love GPT-5 is because it doesn't gaslight me. It gets to work. It gets to work. It does good work. And, we're managing context. We're actually have good documentation procedures. We're shipping software. This is what it's about, friends. This is cooking. I'm going to in parallel work. Look at this. Look at this. Let's go. Let's go, fam. Let's go. I'm so hyped right now. All right. So this is crazy. So I implemented in the cloud. Let's open this up a little bit. So we're cooking with two different things here. So I have generated a new spec. So private galleries for premium members implementation plan. So this implemented the whole new plan for we told it about the feature that we wanted, right? I was just yapping, right? I wasn't going crazy. And it followed for 4 minutes and 53 seconds on the cloud. It authored a planning spec with the whole thing. Oh, let's go. Let's go. Detailed architecture, phase implementation, testing implementations is not this cooked. This cooked. Problem statement, current experience. After signing in, no private specs, opportunity, provide privacy respecting, reuse, and then here's some goals. Here's some non-goals, implementing backend payments. Yes. because this is exactly what I said. I was this is out of scope right now. I will do this later, but I want to make sure I'm ready for this. So, and then we're not going to build complex filters yet. This is great. So dependencies and related work. It even's linking specific gallery, other documentation it can reference. Requires clerk identity management. Even gave us a data flow with the Mermaid diagram. Bro. GPT-5, you're cooking. I love this so much. Who does this? Oh my goodness. And it has this gorgeous. This is gorgeous. Oh, front end surfaces, a new authentication route, reuse public model. I love that it's reusing code here. Upgraded CTA. Okay, so discovery analysis baseline, audit the clerk metadata to confirm the available hooks for entitlements. I think for the metadata part, I want to drive this through the convex backend. For the clerk metadata, instead of doing that, I want to drive it through the convex backend, because one of the advantages of convex is the fact that it's very reactive, and I want to make sure we keep the code dry as well. And it makes it easier to keep the data in one area instead of going to two different systems for popping into clerk to change entitlements and so forth. Okay, did that finish? I hope it did. Oh, did we? Oh no, okay. So I think, did my whisper flow finish that? Let me just open my whisper flow. No, I missed. I totally like dropped the ball on that. Okay, so let me just repeat that again so I can put that in here. So I wonder if I did put it in somewhere else, if you know what I mean. So let's check this out. Did it? Okay, so it's still cooking. Okay. All right, so we're writing features. For the metadata with clerk, like the hooks for the entitlements, I actually want that stuff to be in the convex database, because convex is going to be the source of truth. And part of the joys of using convex is the fact that it's very reactive, and we can keep code very dry this way. Dry is basically do not repeat yourself. Dry this way. Okay. And then what else are we doing here? Document migration strategy, extend the convex schema. Okay. Upserts for users, create actions on authenticated requests. So call from the middleware. Yes. Okay. Or trigger. Okay. Phase 2, private gallery and query mutations. Okay. Add a get private gallery. This is nice. And okay. I also want you to do a second pass as a senior engineering architect here to make sure that we have some structure and specific files, and that we're not repeating too much code, and that we're able to use existing code and still keeping to the convex rules. Okay. To the KISS rules, convex rules. Okay. And guidelines. Okay, cool. All right, so what else are we doing here with our plan? Testing and validation, run bundlint. Okay, this looks pretty good. Great. Awesome. Okay, so the open questions. Dude, this is asking me open questions. This is so awesome. So source of truth for premium flag, clerk webhooks versus scheduled sync. The source of truth should be on convex, so I'm going to tell it that as well. For the premium flags, the source of truth should be on convex. So that way, if I need to change something, I could just go right to the back end and change it immediately. And it's just easier to manage this way. And that's actually one of the big advantages of using convex. I know this sounds like a commercial, but like, this is like, I'm not paid by convex, by the way. I use them, and if you're not using them, you should use them. It's so fire. It's so ridiculous. Should free users still see their end generated images as a teaser? Currently assumed now requires product validation. Yes, I think current users should still see their last generated images. I think because people have generated images and they're not tied to users right now, we're just going to leave that as the open public gallery. And that way we don't have to worry too much about migrating things. This is still like an MVP, so I'm okay even deleting the images and starting fresh again, but we're just trying to keep this as simple as possible. Do we need a deletion archival alongside private gallery launch? I think we should also delete the images for the user after 3 days if they are not paying a premium, because we don't want the images to accumulate for too long. And people who are paying are basically going to be paying for storage. Okay, cool. Okay. So those were my updated comments. Let's go ahead and update the private gallery spec document. And then I'm going to go ahead and go to code. So in essence, what I'm doing here is I'm in the cloud working with this this spec, and I'm iterating with this in parallel because it doesn't really require any code changes. And so this is a nice way to, to work with your documentation and review it. And does this make sense to me? Yes. Like this is kind of what I like about it. And what's nice about it is like in a vibe coding sense, I'm not having to generate code and then go back and rip features out. That's the painful part. And I used to do that a lot because I would just say, go create this. And it's just really fun to generate code really fast. But part of like the discipline of good software engineering is actually writing a good spec and then working back and forth. And if you don't know, sometimes it's really interesting. I was really surprised that GPT-5 said, hey, I have some open questions for you. Can you answer them? And that is really cool because I've not really seen Claude Sonnet do that or Claude Opus unless I explicitly tell it to. And sometimes it just makes its own assumption and just says like, this is what's best for you. So I really appreciate that, man. I'm really liking this model a lot. This is really, really beautiful. Let's see. Let's go. How's it going, man? Let's see. Does the output work and look visually good? I found GPT-5 and AMP to be the best model at diagnosing issues, writing specs, but not great at complex UI. So Niston, I have not, this is what I was hitting yesterday and during my hackathon, is that it's really good at making good database, like backend code, structure, that type of things. But like as far as UI work, I would always have to flip it back over to Sonnet and just say, can you just fix this layout problem? Here's a screenshot. And it would just like in one shot fix it, which is super awesome. And so a lot of those layout bugs I can flip to Sonnet, which I found super helpful. And I'm really curious to see how this model is going to perform. And, specifically because this is designed for agentic work. And I'm not really sure what that's going to look like, but I'm just really curious as well. But yeah, I'm with you on that. Sterling, how's it going, man? Yo, I got to meet Sterling here in Hawaii on the beach here in Lanikai. I just came back from paddling in the evening and I got to meet up with Sterling, which is super awesome. So it's really cool to actually see you doing this. Excited to see this demo, man. This demo is fire. So for those who are wondering, we're using ChatGPT on the web using Codex. And we're also doing quite a bit of things. We're actually using it inside of Cursor, and Cursor has a Codex plugin that we're using as well. And so you can kind of see it's doing its own thing. And I don't know what's going on, if it kind of got hung up or because basically, yeah, it's kind of hung up right now. As you can kind of see, it's stuck. I don't know what's going on. So I'm going to probably say continue because it's stuck at thinking. And I don't know why it's stuck at thinking because it's been stuck at thinking for quite some time. So I might just stop and I'll just say continue. Probably too many people are using it right now, right? But we're in Hawaii. It's 7 o'clock. And I think California time is 10. And then 11, 12, 1. It's like 1 o'clock on the East Coast. So hopefully less people are using it. It's part of the reason why I like to be in Hawaii using this software because most people are sleeping and I can code at night. So it's pretty cool. So yeah, big shout outs. If you haven't had a chance to, y'all know what to do with the thumbs up type of thing. My name is Ray Fernando. I used to be an engineer who worked at Apple for 12 years and was basically let go dealing with long COVID and a bunch of other health issues. And so after coming back out of that, now basically, the AI wave literally just landed, in 2023. So I created my accounts on X, on YouTube, and, I've gone from 0 to like 25K on YouTube or on X. On YouTube, we've already hit 16K. And all I do is like live stream and code, which is the best thing in the world, right? So now that I'm healthy again, gaining back all my health, I'm actually able to code live with y'all and kind of show you what I do to make software. And this is probably the best era to live in to make software now. And so I don't have to like figure out all these crazy problems. I can just like orchestrate and move at a speed that I've never been able to move before. And as a single person, I can ship software so fast. Like I generated a huge SaaS in less than 2 days for the Hawaii Tech Week, so they can manage their onboarding of hosts, so they can host events as well and have this whole flow, which is super crazy, using like Convex, Clerk authentication and all that stuff. And so I found kind of my stack that I like working with and I use it all the time. And part of the advantages of using Convex for the backend is it's also written in TypeScript, which is perfect for agents. And whenever you have types, they're just perfect for these types of things to make sure your work is verifiable and even for architecture planning, which is I find just incredible. So I know it sounds like a commercial, but like that's just kind of like, it's just the way I roll. And so if you're digging this vibe, this is kind of what I do here. So make sure you kind of stay subscribed because I want to start to do more of these live streams more often because we need to kind of share the best practices. And if you want to check out the Discord, I do have a Discord. It's currently paid. I'm going to be shutting it down soon because I'm going to move to a whole different offering. which actually is going to be way more money, but you can get in if you want before I shut it down. So rfer.me/discord. And so if you hit this link right now, you could be able to get in. I think it's only like $14.99 a month. So lock in that price, basically before I shut it down. And basically, I want to spend more time with people who are like really trying to get up to speed with this, and I can just kind of knowledge dump and share with like less people, right? So I found out that like if I have like a Discord with thousands of people or something for free, it takes all my attention away, and I can't really do what I do best, which is like coding live and sharing my passion for using AI and coming into this new agentic era, because there's just so much that keeps changing every single week from month to month that like it's really hard to keep up at times. So this is kind of why I like to live stream, because by the time I'd finish recording a video, I have a video on GPT-5 image model, and the Nano Banana model got released. By the time I just finished editing this video, I was going to publish it this Sunday. I was like, dude, no one's going to care because everyone's using Nano Banana, and I was using GPT-5 in the video like, last month, right? Like this is kind of what's crazy. It's like I try editing my videos and stuff, and I try to get the recording and everything. It's just too late. So it's just easier to just live stream and just cook live. So that's what I'm doing right now. So I feel like this is going to be like the best way to get stuff across here. So yeah, definitely check that out. When the Discord does shut down, will the existing members keep their same price? Yes, exactly. Yeah, that is basically just going to be like a private group for the people who've been able to get in. And I feel like it's more of like a thank you for everyone who's been able to support so far, because these people who have gotten in are like my top 100, the top 200 people who have been rocking with me since the very, very beginning of this, when I was a no one, before like 10K subs, before like several thousand subs and stuff like that. So yeah, I just recently opened up the Discord. So that's kind of what's been insane. So I appreciate all the support. And I feel like these people who have come together are super passionate. I mean, we've had people in there who've spent like billions in tokens, like billions of tokens have flown through Cloud Code, and they spent a lot of money. And yeah, everyone who's in there is super locked in, super awesome. So I definitely appreciate the folks who've been able to join in so far. It's been a really fun experience to kind of hang out with everyone, but obviously I can't dedicate a lot of my time to everyone. So that's kind of why I want to close it down, because once it gets too big, it's just too hard to maintain, and I can only do so much, right? And I'd rather share what I know live, and then the private Discord group of people are special people who are in there. So yeah, that's what's up. So let's see, edit authenticated gallery progress. I also appreciate everyone's comments. So everyone's comments I do read, and that's what actually helps me generate more video ideas as well. And these are the perfect times to kind of play around with these things. So now, what is it doing now? So it's actually preparing a patch for the progress document progress. Okay. So we have a lot of code changes now. So now, dang. Okay. So this is the last phase of work that it's doing. So this is going to fix the bug supposedly for my image issues. So yes. Okay. Oh, this looks pretty cool. So image preview. Okay. Public model. Okay. So yeah, this should already be done now. Let's go and check it out. Fun dev. Cool. So I think the work is almost done. Is it still, it's just writing some last tasks. Update the spec. Okay. And this is my updated spec. I think I see. Yeah. So it worked for another minute here. We're going to get back to that in a little bit. I want to see what's going on over here. So go back. Okay. Ooh, I like this. Ooh, wow. That's nice. Okay, let me refresh this again. That's awesome. Okay, so it's a lot better. And so, whoa, and I'm going to do the mobile view and see what happens. So on mobile view, it doesn't really work too well. Let me just double check. Yeah. But, oh no, it does work on mobile view. Share settings, but I can't scroll. Okay, that's what it is. So, here, oh, this is so ugly. Feature on public gallery, sure. This is nice. Okay, cool. So let's just see what's going on here. Let's see, it's still writing the code, and 2 out of 4 tasks completed, track all changes. Yeah, these are all the changes that are happening here, right? It's going to delete this code. It's doing a new dialog content. And then we're just kind of waiting. It's taking a little while to do its thing. It must be pretty heavily impacted. I'm going to just stage these changes so far. So reviewing, I'm going to say, be sure to make sure this works on mobile, because as of right now, when I click the settings, it goes out of the view and I'm not able to scroll to see the rest of the settings on mobile. So I wonder if I can just send it like this and if it adds it to the queue. Oh, conversation paused. Interesting. So if I send a new message, it basically pauses it and it doesn't then it continues going forward. Okay. That's interesting, because I was really curious to see if it was just in Cursor, you can just kind of feed a message and it'll fit into the queue. So when it gets to a thinking step in Cursor, it's just going to slide in that message before it does the next phase of work, which is super handy. And it'll do another set of thinking again. But here it looks like you can't really, while you can send a message, it pretty much just pauses it and it just then continues forward. Maybe it's the same thing, but I don't know. I feel like it was in the middle of a deep thought. So yeah. So now it's actually going to improve it. I'm fixing the layout so users can control. Okay, so it does kind of recognize that. And I'm just kind of watching these changes here. Let's go back into here. Okay, yeah, this is nice. Nice. Okay, cool. Share settings. Okay, cool. It's not the prettiest of the UI, but it kind of works. Yeah, I think we should just put this in one row. So this is what's curious. I'm curious to see if it's going to actually be able to take images, because I think it does, but I just want to make sure it could do that. So once this finishes, okay, so I've updated both layouts. Great. So it's basically done. Okay, let's go. I'm going to just check in the changes now and then commit them. Let's go commit. Oh, let me just turn up my brightness and my lights right now in the room. Okay, cool. All right, sync the changes. Syncing. Are you syncing what I'm syncing? Okay. Cool. All right. So, okay. So we should have those changes in. Let me just recompile the app. And in Codex, they pop in their little coding thing there. And is it still going? Okay, so this is the task history is the one for the cloud. This one's done locally. Let me just kind of get rid of this one here. See, bun dev and convex functions are still running. I don't think we have to redo that. Oh, cool. Big shout outs to someone who just subscribed to the Discord. I appreciate you. This is really great to be able for you to get in and kind of pop in and check things out. It's basically kind of an extension as well. Like I have some stuff available in there that I post on Twitter. And if you follow my Twitter feed, sometimes it's just there'll be different things I retweet and stuff. But a lot of the good gems and bookmarks and design stuff I drop in there as well. And, stuff that I'm thinking as far as documentation. So it's kind of nice. It's not really super chatty in there, which is great. And it just makes it easy to a pleasure to catch up. So yeah, let's see, just refresh here. And so our feature is working. And then let's just kind of do one last thing. I want to see how good Codex is if I tell it some type of design thing and see if we can kind of iterate from here. So the last bug fix that I'm going to fix revolves documentation. So please excuse me while I try to find that document. I found it. So I'm going to go way over here and drop this in. No? Add context? Add image? Okay. So I have to go to the desktop now. So that's weird. I tried to drop in the image and it didn't really do anything. So, all right. Let's try to come up with a better layout for these buttons that you just put in, because that just looks ugly. What are your thoughts? I know what I think, but I'm just curious to see. This is kind of going on what Niston was saying earlier, because he was saying he had issues with the visual stuff, and I actually agree with him. It's not the best, at visual, but we'll see if it can actually understand what this really is. And this is kind of going to be a really interesting test. By the way, we did that whole execution of phase 3 and 4 for our plan, as you saw, and this was done with GPT-5 medium. So that's pretty cool. Oh, my voice is almost running out, but I'm doing this because y'all are real ones right now. So yeah, big shout out to everyone who's on YouTube. If you're all in there, make sure you smash the thumbs up type of thing. That really kind of goes a long way for the people who are kind of watching and doing this type of stuff. Also curious to know how things are going with y'all. Are you guys like testing this out? Are you using GPT-5? Are you like, where is your favorite place to use it? Are you using it in the command line? Are you using it inside of Cursor, VS Code? What plan do you have? Like, do you like this plan or not? What is your experience using it? What stack? You know, I know some people are doing some iOS work, and I'm going to be trying to download the latest versions of Xcode. I've been wanting to go through the latest documentation for Swift, and I have avoided it for various reasons that I'll explain later on. I might just explain in the Discord. I'm not really trying to put it out there. But yeah, I'm not trying to spread drama or anything, but I just wanted to prioritize like maybe how fast can I pick up a new language with AI? And I think this has been really impressive how fast I've been able to move with this type of thing. So this is basically going to try to do this new layout. Okay, let's see this layout and see how it kind of looks like in here. So, okay. Not gonna lie, this is a little bit better. I don't know what the X share on X means, but so if I pop this out, what it's gonna do is gonna pop in a new post and says, check out my AI generated whatever it is. So that's pretty funny actually. That's awesome. Oh my goodness. Cloud Code is out with something? Wow. I want all of thinking in Claude, but to be honest, I'm not really using Claude. Codex team shipping updates incredible pace. Oh my God, this is great. Oh, Romaine's coming in with a sauce right now. Okay, cool. I can't get too distracted, but I kind of like this better, to be honest. So yeah. I know I'm late to the stream, but what are your thoughts on the model? Bro, the model? Like, all right, so I could say my thoughts on the model, but there's some people who've been watching me so far, and I want y'all to know, give them the download of like what I'm thinking so far, and once I see a couple comments stream in, then I'll chime in my thoughts. But we've been cooking with this. I was using GPT-5 in Cursor, Agent and Codex CLI. Now using Codex in Cursor. Yeah, I like the Codex experience in Cursor right now. This is really good. I'm testing the new Codex model while I watch your stream. I asked it to think hard about fixing my site's footer, and it's been thinking about 7 minutes. Bro. Are you using? Yeah, you're using hard, huh? Yeah, yeah. If you're using the high model, yeah, I don't know. It could be overkill, low key. You know, to be honest, because the model's already so damn good. You know what I mean? Like that's why I went medium for implementing my plans. But I mean, if you have had a problem with your footer, I would definitely, do what you're doing here. I'm not trying to discourage you. Yeah, X share. Oh, I see. X share on X was already in my original image. Got it. So this finished working. It did some code changes. It even updated the gallery spec. And in the gallery spec, the settings overflow thing, which is describing sharing to actions. So this is cool. It captured all of the learnings. And the reason why I sort of came up with this plan for doing documentation was because of what I've learned watching Devin. So the Devin team basically, or sorry, it's not the Devin team. The folks at Manus have a paper that explains how they do a lot of their agentic work. And what they do is they basically will have each agent spit out like their learnings, their specs, everything in specific folders. And each of these folders drive like research and stuff that's been done. And what that does is it eliminates having to fill up the entire context window. And that way later on, when it needs to do a work, it has one single file, like almost like reading a book, how you have an index for like a really technical manual. If you're going to look up a specific component, you're going to go to that specific page and then start kind of loading up the index, because you can't read the whole thing and then memorize it all, right? So that type of workflow is kind of why I decided to do my document structure this way, because I feel like that's like a more efficient way to work anyways. And this is sort of mimicking that. And we're seeing how powerful that is. So I currently use this documentation structure, not only with GPT-5 in Codex, but I'm using that in Cursor. I'm using that when I use AMP code. I'm using that when I use Cloud Code. And I want to make sure that these base structures are there so that when these agents start working on my stuff, they know what to do. And we got to see GPT-5 Codex live on the web, go through the documentation and dig through those files, reference those agents.md files in these specific components. And you can actually see it in its thinking process, reference that. And it goes back and says, okay, I'm still working on this. I need to make sure I follow these steps as outlined in erased documents. And it's beautiful to work with this type of model. I'm very impressed. I'm super duper impressed with OpenAI. I mean, y'all really cooked with this one. And this is really amazing. So yeah, these patterns and stuff for doing work. Yeah, and this is so cool. This is probably like the best, like way of doing that. It's like ship some features, test some things, see if it works, break things, try to do some more stuff. And so, yeah, now that we have these things in here, I'm just going to go ahead and check in this code because I really like it and it actually works. So we're going to commit it. Okay, cool. We've done a lot of work. So where are we now with this plan? It should have updated everything. Oh, I might be losing my camera soon. So that would be kind of a bummer, but okay. If I do lose that camera, I'll have to switch cameras, but yeah, until I get my new iPhone, by the way. I got the new iPhone, they should call that one iPhone 26 as well. You know, like why stick to like iPhone 17, 18, 20, you know? It should also change the OS numbers too. So, okay. So this basically says, we were coming back here. It says, oh, Klein, it says Claude. Yeah. Clerk. All right. It's cool. It actually understood what I was talking about. So clarified the goals of dependencies so free users continue to rely on shared free feed. Added retention for and ownership guidance, including 3-day cleanup. Expanded touch points for dry. Wow. This is nice. And then expanded implementation phases and security considerations to emphasize shared help or reuse, entitlement synchronization. This is gorgeous. Wow. Look at all this stuff it added. This is nice. Okay, cool. Man, this is a great document. Can we just ship it? I like it. So if I hit create PR, what that will do is I should be able to pull the PR into my main branch. And now I'll have this new documentation pulled into my my repo. And then we can use it and start cooking. So what I'm curious to see is, can I pull this in from Codex? Because I have it here in my task history. You know, once I ship this feature, I should be able to technically pull it in and we should be able to cook with it, right? So I'm going to leave this here for now. And then we've already finished this work here. And yeah, this is already done. Dang, we've been shipping. Okay. So I'm going to ask it to do one last check to make sure we're done. Are we done with the unauthenticated gallery spec work? Let's see. Oops. Are we done with the unauthenticated gallery spec work? If so, we should probably move the files to completed. Okay. Okay, I'm just going to run that. Cool. Awesome. Cool. Would you say Groq CodeFast has gotten better or worse? I haven't used it since the free trial, to be honest. And I've just been so impressed with GPT-5 and its quality of code output, and the cost is so cheap. It's cool. I think I would use Groq Code 1 if I'm prototyping like UI, like ideas, colors, and stuff where I just want to see a really quick visual of something. Like I just want to see a quick modal. I want to see how something will show up. So instead of waiting forever for GPT-5, I'd rather just have it, you know, spit that out. That's probably where I would use it. Yeah, 20 past. Okay. Been using it for free. Yeah. That's a really good idea. I'm having a hard time understanding why OpenAI is recommending medium reasoning over high. If timing cost is not an issue, why would you always want high reasoning? So Brian, this is a really good question to ask, and I think other people are asking this as well. So the reason why you would want to use medium over high is because of the context window. Whenever you use high, you're going to use up a lot bigger context window, and you don't always want to use that because by the time you get to like 4 requests in, especially for a large feature, or if you're reading in lots of files, then you're going to basically kill that context window, and it's not really going to be that healthy for the agent after like it gets over 50%. So this is something that I see very frequently inside of Cursor. In Cursor, there's a little like circle that fills up that shows you the context window. So I like to keep my hygiene pretty good for your Cursor. And that's the thing that I've noticed. When I use it on high, GPT-5 High in Cursor, it shows that it uses a bigger context window. Ooh, I just got an Apple notification about my shipment for my device. The other thing is like medium is perfect. It's a good balance of both, right? It's still chatty, but it still gets the work done. And we got to see I gave it a really good implementation for my spec. And so the way that I'm thinking about this, Brian, and maybe you want to think about this as well, is that you may want to start off with high. If you're going to do some planning, you're not really sure about your specs, you want the agent to dig through the code and load up that context. Once that context is loaded up, you would maybe want to describe your features. You maybe want to grab this like template that I have for the documentation and try to see if you can drive a spec to be created. Once you have the spec that's created with the high model, open up a new chat. This is where you can go to low or medium. The model is really, really good. You can just say, go ahead and start following the spec. It's going to preload all the files it needs, following all the rules, and then it's going to really cook for you. And I feel like that's going to be the best way to get a good balance of both. And you don't need to fill up your context window with high because you've already done a lot of that work earlier to grab the file to be very specific. So the more specific you are with the model, especially GPT-5, that's what they call it's being very steerable. It can actually execute the work that you've already laid out in that spec file and just kind of just go to town. And that's what you needed to do. And so the verification steps that will happen afterwards are also described in that spec file as far as like what to verify. And it also thinks by itself. It's as it's writing the code for you in medium or low, it says like, I touched these areas of code. I should also make sure that this is also working to this. And then if you have any AGENTS.md files in, for example, my database, which is where I have some stuff, as it goes in there, it's going to be like, oh, there's a relationship here between your database and this type of thing that I just wrote. Let me make sure this is also working back there. Oh, there's some type errors now that I'm running this. Okay, let me kind of rethink about this process again. So that's the GPT-5 model where it's like, as it keeps learning new things, it becomes very smart. And this is kind of the actual advantage of GPT-5 Codex model specifically, is because it has that extra agentic capability. And, we're basically seeing this happen in real time, which is super duper beautiful. And that's probably the reason why you probably don't always want to use high all the time. So hopefully that's helpful. And if you guys have any other opinions, please share them because I'm really curious to learn as well. What are the limits on Codex? I've been using it and haven't hit a limit like Cloud Code. Yeah, as of right now, I don't think there's anything public, but I'm really curious to see what people are also running into. Michael, how's it going? Aloha. I think Michael was also, he was one that's actually running the Honolulu Tech Week hackathon. So huge shout outs. Welcome from X. Definitely appreciate you watching and stuff. It's been really fun to kind of code with GPT-5 and check this thing out and ship some features here live, which is really, really cool. So if you guys want to try out this app right now, I'll give you the link so you can try it out. So it's basically called, I just forked this repo and we're making this app. So here is the link to the app and you can upload some image. Don't do some crazy stuff, but we're going to definitely check this out. So this is, I know I should probably make a shortened URL for this, but basically what you can do is just upload an image and you can kind of see, oh, this is really cool. Sign in to create yours. Damn, this is really awesome. So, wow, this is actually, I didn't realize that we shipped this feature. So this is the feature that we actually shipped live, by the way. This is so cool because this wasn't here before. You couldn't click the featured images and see them. This is really great. Get inspired by real creations from the Drip Me Out community. Sign in to transform your own photos. Oh, this is like super cute. This is awesome. Somebody uploaded a photo of me from X and this is what it transformed. Oh man, this is awesome. Look at that sign in, man. That's so cool. That's awesome. Yeah, and I have Clerk for authentication, which is super fire. So let me just go ahead and see if I can load up my 50 million accounts here so that we can kind of get this cooking here. So I'm just going to go ahead and sign in real quick, and then I'm going to pop it back, and then we can kind of see the gallery. So yeah, this is really cool. So this is the actual production website. You can check it out. Let me go ahead and pop this in here so that y'all can see it. So this is the actual link to the website. So once you go here, you're going to be able to see the actual app live. And yeah, that's what's up. So yeah, hopefully so now that the images are loading in from Convex, they should be able to cache now because that's the feature we shipped as well. GPT-5 now fixed like some caching issues. So this should be, the thing here, you can copy the share link. So if I copy this link and I paste it here, other people can now see it publicly. And then so you can share this with your friend. This is create your own. And so my goal is to basically kind of create like a little viral app. And then you could even share it and like feature in the public gallery. So I can feature this image in the public gallery and people can see it. And if I want to actually have a link to expire, this is pretty cool. And if I hit load more, it's going to load more images. And then, if I hit load more again, it's going to load them. So as they load in, it's going to be pretty fast. So this is pretty cool. This is really awesome. Yeah. Yo, Robin, how's it going, man? We are cooking with GPT-5. You love this model. I love this model as well. Yeah, cool app. Yep. Yo, Codex is life, man. Codex is so good. Perfect timing. Early morning here. Saw the update last night, and I'm going to be messed with Codex. Dude, you're going to go all in. So yeah, I'm so glad it's going to be helping you out as well. So yeah, now that we have the images loaded, watch, check this out. Like, these are my slippers. Yes, these are so awesome. I'm going to feature this in the gallery. let me do mobile view. Ooh, wow, this looks so good on mobile too. And then hit the X. Wow, this is awesome. Okay, so if I refresh the site, it's gonna go back down to the first images, and then we hit load more. The caching should be, yeah. See, look, it cached all my images now, so it doesn't reload them like it did before. Yeah, GPT-5 basically cooked for us, fam. This is so awesome. So yeah, we've done a lot. We've shipped a lot of features already. Holy smokes. Yeah. Okay. So let me just kind of recap here. Finished working. Wow. This is awesome. We really, really cooked. Okay. So we did 4 phases of work. The original spec for this file was like almost 1,000 lines, right? Yeah. We went, 1,000 plus lines. So this is the entire spec that we worked on and shipped with 4 different phases, all laid out in an original implementation plan. In the middle of this, we also kind of came up with some new specs to do that. And we're basically just using GPT-5 Codex. So with GPT-5 Codex model, it was able to take this large plan, work on the different pieces of chunks that we did, and iterate. And you can see one of my favorite things is the fact that it didn't generate all this extra code. And if we were to do this with Cloud Code side by side, I'm pretty sure it would just generate like crazy amounts of code for generating these features, and it would overlook a lot of existing functions that we have. So part of like the goals, especially when you're working in software engineering, is to not repeat yourself, and you don't want a lot of bloat. And so I feel like GPT-5 Codex is going to be that anti-slop model. So you heard it here first, right? This type of model is going to help so many people coding with AI, but you have to have good best practices, right? So make sure you have these types of documentation things set up. Make sure you have your AGENTS.md rules files set up so that you can actually start leveraging these agents to take advantage of what they're really good at. They're really good at being steered into a direction. So the clearer you are with these files, it doesn't matter if you don't know what to do yet. You can tell an agent to help you work on it. So probably the technique that you want to do right now is maybe start out with GPT-5 High, generate some documentation, generate a spec file. Once you go from there, change it back to medium or low, create a new chat, and just start cooking and going to town. So some of the key phrases that you want is like to have some verifiable steps. You want to have this larger agent or the agent on high. Make sure that when it writes out the plan, to put it into phases that have verifiable pieces of work. So when it's doing those chunks of work, it can verify on itself. And that way you can kind of get that nice little feedback loop and take advantage of the agentic capability of this model, because it's so helpful to write software like this. I'm really hoping that this also does show up in the API with Cursor. Cursor is a really good harness as well. And when we say harness, it's basically the agent. And they're leveraging the model to do these techniques to do this stuff in the code. So we've been able to take this large file, ship all these features, admin features, add in different things. We've also were able to use the Codex model on the actual web. So on the web itself, I had a documentation task. So I gave it some documentation. I yapped in some features that I wanted, and it was able to think for 4 minutes. And we reviewed the initial plan, gave it some updates, and now it has some additional documentation that we will be able to take going forward. And if I wanted to, I could just say, go ahead and start to implement this feature. I'll probably create a new chat, but I'm just going to go ahead and see if I can create a new PR and just have it push it right into my repo, because I want to pull this back down into the main part of my app and just have it start cooking. So this is in the planned featured private gallery. So let's go ahead and view the PR, and just really curious to see what this does, because we've come a lot. We've done a lot today. I mean, this is incredible. This just came out and you're watching someone live do this. This is what we do here. Like, this is no planned video. This is like we're rolling live. This is my favorite way of doing things. And this is kind of what we do. You're basically watching like a lot of experience of engineers. So yeah, I used to work at Apple as an engineer for like 12 plus years. And a lot of stuff that I worked on, with many, many teams across the company, from very low level stuff to very high level user interfaces, because of a lot of the work that, like myself plus many, many engineers across the company, it's like I've worked on the update system where literally billions of devices have been able to update, along with a lot of people who have been meticulously testing and doing these types of things. And there's these different workflows that you kind of learn in the software engineering practice. And you may be actually shocked to learn that I actually dropped out of school. So a lot of the stuff that I learned was literally on the job, shipping software, and actually moving at a pace that, like, back then was almost like AI now, right? Whenever there's these crazy business problems, I was getting pulled into things that would cost like millions of dollars every minute. And you have to like move really fast with high priorities because it impacts a lot of people, and urgency is really key. But after the fact, you can kind of learn to be more organized so that those types of things don't happen again. And, a lot of those scars have really been burned into me. And I'm just trying to share some of those back with you. So if you're liking what you see, definitely make sure you hit the little thumbs up type of thing and subscribe, because I'm going to be coding more with AI. And I think y'all have to learn more about how to like leverage these agents to be like that ultra crazy, amazing engineer. So I'm not saying that I'm amazing. I'm just saying that we can get there. So if you're not that far yet, let's just definitely start cooking. So it looks like all the checks have passed. And I think it just does a code review on itself. So this is the files that have changed. And this is just a documentation file that we basically iterated on. And I'm just going to go ahead and merge this here, merge pull requests, confirm merge, just looks good to me, bro. And so this created a branch for its work. So we're just going to go ahead and delete the branch because now it should be pulled into the main. And if we go into cursor, we should be able to then just pull in this branch now. So if I go back to code in here, we should be able to see the commit. And I'm just really curious. So merge pull requests. Yeah, so this now has the latest feature. This is the one we shipped 2 minutes ago, and this is the one we just pulled in now. So if I go into here, we should be able to sync the changes and pull the latest 2 changes down. So now I'll basically have the latest documentation, and this is actually where it's sitting at here. So this is the documentation that we generated from Codex on the web, and I'll show you the architecture diagram that it generated for us. So this is the architecture diagram that I was talking about that I flipped out that I didn't realize that, Codex can do. And it basically did that for us, right? Off that feature and off my documentation that I was showing you, it generated all of this really great, specs that I really liked. We were kind of reading through it live. And now we have an architecture diagram. So authentication user navigates to these types of things. There's an entitlement guard, and it takes a look at things. And part of why I like, coding with like something like Convex is because, all of this stuff is just function calls. It's not like I have to worry about, okay, I'm writing a specific SQL query and then I have to cache it. And then like what components are using this now and like having to dig through that. It's like, no, I just look for this function call, images.whatever. And it's basically, instead of using an ORM, it's already built into TypeScript. So like, yeah, there's so many advantages, and I can go on forever and ever, but yeah, that's what it is. And like, this is uber beautiful. Now we pull this in. And if I really wanted to now, I could just set up a new cloud agent before I go to bed tonight and just say, go ahead and start working on this feature and just go. I mean, y'all want to see this right now? Like, just see how fast. I mean, I'm not going to. So the cool thing about a cloud thing is it's going to generate a new branch and it's going to do its own thing. There's like 3 phases. How many lines of code do we have here? Or how many lines? 150. Okay. I don't know. If y'all want to see this right now, this would be really fire. I'm just going to just fire this off and forget about it and just go to bed, right? Like, this is literally the AGI moment I've been living for. I can go to the beach. I can have an agent work on this while I'm at the beach, like paddling and doing my own exercise, and come back and test the feature. Bro, this is crazy. This is absolutely bonkers. Oh man, quick UI idea. On the homepage, when you preview a creation, I expect it to be able to use the left and right arrows to see the other creations. Bro, let's cook with this, bro. Let's cook with this. I think that's a really good idea, actually. So yeah. Number 1 tip for GPT-5, learn prompting from Ray. Bro, prompts are powerful. Prompts are so powerful. I've always felt like there's often so much time spent debugging that slower models that think for a while but ship less buggy code end up saving way more time. Yeah, and also being thoughtful about how you do an implementation is going to be helpful, especially if you write the same feature 3 times, you end up cleaning up for sure. I'm late. Good. Yeah, bro, the model is fire right now, and we're totally cooking. So I think I like this idea of this like scrollable gallery thing, and let's just see if we can kind of implement that like YOLO style. So what would be really interesting if we can just try the Groq Fast model and just see what the differences are, right? Like, let's just, for something like this, okay, we've already finished this. Now we're totally good with Codex, right? So Codex, if you want to get started, for those who are just watching again, you can go to the extensions and just search up Codex for GPT, OpenAI's GPT thing. And then once you download Codex, you'll actually see it on the left-hand side. And then what I do is I drag the name here and I drag it over to this little tab area. And this is kind of where it shows up, and this is how you have it into the tab. And I prefer it on this side because I do like to see and preview my files, as you can kind of see here. And so I thought it would be really cool to maybe see if we can test Cursor's agent. So this is on Media Max. This is just the regular GPT-5, let's see, GPT-5. So we have GPT-5 medium. I don't know. Yeah. Should we do Groq fast? Let's see. Groq 4, Groq code. Do I have the model? Bro, I don't, let's see real quick. I thought I had the model. Groq? Oh, Groq CodeFast. Oh, they must have disabled it after it was no longer free or something. Okay. Let's just go ahead and see if I could do this here. So, I'm really curious to see what the quality of output is because I'm not going to save. I think I have everything all checked in. Yeah, I'm going to implement this feature that he's talking about. Groq CodeFast. Okay. So we're going to see how fast this model is and see if it's up. So on the homepage, when we preview a creation, I'd like to be able to use the left and right arrows to see the other creations, kind of like a real gallery. And so I'm just going to give it this like generic of information, and we're going to see how fast it can implement this feature, kind of like a speed run. And I'm just really curious. So this is basically testing the agentic capability of Cursor using the Groq code model. And you can kind of already see how fast it's moving. So it's already selected these things here. Let me just kind of drag this down a little bit. And then let me kind of get rid of the files here so we can kind of see. It's so fast. It's so fast. Shit, bro. This is crazy. Oh my goodness, bro. Oh my goodness. Look at this. It burnt. We're done. Is it? Okay. What's going on? Did we finish the whole thing already? Like continue? I don't understand what's going on. Let's see. Let's just see. Where are we at right now? Like, I don't really know if it finished the feature or not because it still says it's like, on 1 of 5 to-dos and stuff. And like, I don't really know. Yeah, let's just check it out. I'm really curious. So I think I have to sign out and then check it out again. So maybe, some people are trying out images. Cool, right? Oh, wow. Okay, can't find variable image. Oh, no. So I think it just broke itself. That's kind of, let's see, localhost. Actually, let me just check out the regular one to make sure. So yeah, the regular one still works. So, okay, cool. So so like this is the quality of Groq code, right? I don't think it's done implementing. So I don't think you're done implementing this feature, right? So please continue. So it accepts the props. Yeah. So I think add keyboard, event listeners, add visual navigation. So let me go back down to this thing here. So it's just adding a whole bunch of code, and let's inspect and see what code it's added so far. So what is it doing here? It's doing a lot of this. Oh my God, it's generating too much code, bro. No, I don't like this. Oh, bro, this this is Groq CodeFast. So we'll see. I mean, I don't expect it to work. So this is the difference. You're seeing the difference, right? So GPT-5 on Medium, like when we gave it our plan, like first try, as soon as it said it was done, it worked. Like there was none of this nonsense that we were seeing, right? So this is kind of what's amazing. So now let me check. It says 1 error in file. It's doing some more work here. Actually thought some more. This is really interesting. Yeah, let me just kind of zoom back out a little bit so you can see. Yeah. Whoops. Oh, let me see. Minus. Okay. I'm really curious to see what's going to happen now. So it's running the build, making sure it could build everything, and then I'm just recompiling. Okay, so now it did everything. The model's really fast, and this is just me prototyping. And this is kind of why I was talking about like localhost, using Groq CodeFast to just play with an idea, right? Like see how well it works. So yeah, okay, no regressions now. It kind of works. Let me go ahead and sign out and then kind of see what happens now. Now, if I go here, I should be able to left and right. It doesn't work, right? I'm just going to refresh. Yeah. Oh, that's so wild. Okay. So I think if I think correctly, if I sign in, I think that's the gallery where it wants me to do it. So maybe it's not in the featured section, but maybe in the actual gallery itself. So as I'm taking a look at people's photos, I should be able to go left and right. So what I'm doing right now is I'm going to sign in real quick and see if that feature works, because maybe that's what it's doing and I just didn't realize it fixed that. So if I click one of these here and see the right arrow. Okay. Ah, that's cool. That's cute actually. Oh, that's nice. Actually, that's really cool. 2 of 8. Oh, that's awesome. Actually, that's very handy. This feature works well. Oh, that's cool. So if I load more, is it going to show us more of 16? And look how fast it is. Wow. Actually, it's really fast. Oh, you know what's really fast? Because we added the caching feature. Oh my God, my iPad's about to die. I'm running out of battery. I'm about to probably end the streams pretty soon, so we'll see. Damn, this is awesome. Holy smokes. Okay, so it shipped the feature super fast. Wow. Big shout outs to Retropunk. That was a really great idea. So what I want to go ahead and do is I want to see if, I'm not going to check the code in, right? I'm going to see if GPT-5 Codex can do a code review for us. This is kind of a really interesting use case, right? So I'm going to hit new chat. I'm going to say it has full agent access. We have medium. So I'm going to select high because I feel like I want the best accuracy here. So I'm going to say, I added a feature where I wanted to use the left and right arrows to go through the gallery. And I want you to do a code review here to make sure that we're keeping things dry and not repeating code and following all of our different rules and conventions. And so go ahead and go. So now I'm going to let GPT-5 Codex do its thing here. So this is part of the reason I think why I expanded this out. It's because now we can actually see GPT-5 High. So it's now checking for the agents files and it's going to do its work. And so for GPT-5 High, it's a great code review model too, right? So whenever code is generated from another model, it's not bad to just pop in and see what's going on here. And this is not a bad way to do things because it did change some lines of code. It added quite a bit of stuff. Is it the way that I would do the code? Probably not. I don't know. Like, we'll see. I'm just going to have a review here done. Yeah. We'll see. Yeah, I'm really curious. So yeah. As far as like what we're cooking with, I'm really liking the GPT-5 Codex model. We've been able to implement like a massive plan and it's still kind of cooking. So that's what's up. Are you guys converting from Cloud Code? I know definitely like I've already converted from Cloud Code and this model is just so damn reliable and at the price, it's just absolutely insane. And the fact that it even does more agentic work is brilliant. So the thing I'm most excited about is really the fact that it's going to now follow a lot of my documentation practice, right? So we still have this plan to go ahead and implement this thing. So once I check in this code, I think it'd be really cool to just let the cloud model really start cooking and chewing on this new gallery spec and just seeing what it does there. Because that'll just be absolutely crazy. That's going to do all this work for free, basically on the cloud, right? And so this is now searching through the code. I'm really curious to see what it's going to critique from the Groq code model, right? So the only reason why I did this in Groq code is just like, I was telling you, like, it's really fast, right? So we can get an idea of how the feature feels. And I already have the base code for it, right? So a lot of the work has been done. So it did implement the feature. It read through all the files. Cursor's really good at grabbing the different things. And, is it the best feature? Does it work? Yes. Why not just get a second opinion from GPT-5 High and just see if there's any bugs to fix or if there's something that I'm missing as a code review, right? I could have gone into like GitHub and made a new PR and said, can you just do a code review for this? But I actually have not even checked in the code. This is actually currently on my local machine. So this is part of the reason why I'm doing this here now. So yeah, so let's just see what it's saying. It's reading the file. It's evaluating. I wish it would be more verbose for each of these steps so I can learn a little bit more about what it's thinking about. Because the only thing it's doing is it sometimes shares of like exactly what's being done or what it's searching for, but it doesn't necessarily share the output like it used to. So I do miss that a lot, actually. So it shows thinking, but doesn't show me what it's thinking about. So that's kind of what I had a feature request for the OpenAI team. More for me to learn, but because it does help me with my coding. So yeah, if you had a chance, definitely hit the subscribe button if you want to check this stuff out. And see more stuff like this, because this is probably like the last feature. And the app that we're working on is Drip Me Out Vercel 5. So this is just a temporary thing. I forked this repo because I'm trying to see if I can make some money using this app. And this type of thing I like is like you take a picture of a real thing and it'll basically make this surreal image using the Nano Banana model. And so what's nice about it is like I've done other things like you see here where I upload some photos and, you can, it'll take an element like this, like my actual paddle. And, it adds this really cool drawing, whimsical type of thing. And this is all following a prompt using the new Nano Banana thing. So in this prompt, it's something that I actually generated using Opus. So you'll be actually very surprised. It'd be interesting too for like thumbnails, GPT-5. But yeah, like this is all through prompting, you're able to kind of generate these types of things, which is really, really cool. The fact that we can like make a SaaS, have like authentication and everything and, do that type of stuff would be really cool. So yeah, that's what's up. Let's see. So let's see how the bug fixing has gone now. So it is still thinking here. It does take a little while. So would love to see your prompting technique for GPT-5 for Codex. Razul, you'll have to check out earlier. So by the time this live stream is complete, I'm going to have timestamps so you can go back later on. So on YouTube, make sure you check that out and subscribe because in the next day or less than 24 hours, I'll have the whole thing transcribed. I'll have the actual, the SRT file, which is the captions that will be on there for English. And then I'll have the timestamps generated so you can go back and see. And the big part of my prompting for GPT-5 is generating these specific spec files. And these spec files describe, just like you would to any other engineer, what features you're going to work on. And I have some documentation around that. So I'm going to make a dedicated video on that. And the point of that dedicated video is to save you a lot of time. So it's going to be a very value-packed, non-live stream style, just me sitting down with you, taking you through this documentation, how I set it up. I don't expect it to be a very long video, but part of that is the biggest key to unlock GPT-5 prompting that not many people are doing. And it's really important to stay, if you can read that spec file, that means that you can ship software and so can your agents. You don't want to delegate too much of that work off to like an MCP or a different like Taskmaster Planner or even other methodologies that I've seen because they just take up a lot of tokens and you need to have like a very succinct, efficient system. And then the secondary part of that is also the AGENTS.md files or your rules files, making sure that those are really tight and buttoned up for your specific stack. So for my stack, I like to work with Next.js. ShadCN is a big part of that. Tailwind CSS v4 because you have this new tokenizing system. All of these are just leveraging existing systems. For the database, I love Convex because it's written in TypeScript. They expose a lot of tooling that's really great for agentic work because the agents know how to write TypeScript. That means they can write to your backend, and you have all this work that can be done to work with your front end as well. So Clerk for authentication because it's just so good, so fast, easy to get set up. So that's the stack that I work with. I work with a lot, and I can generate SaaSes pretty fast now. And I'd highly recommend you stick to something like that. Could you please instruct and advise how to configure the environment setup for cloud deployment with Web Codex? I've had much issue. Yeah, this is something that you probably want to book some time with me because I feel like I can go over it and I think it's very specific, but for the most part, I think I was able to just set up like a bun command. So if you just look on the web, how to set up bun, and if you just do the bun install, the only install command you need for the one is the one for Linux, which is basically this one here. So you can just do a curl, like this is all you need, like the bun, this one here. And then that will basically set it up. I use bun for everything. So that's pretty much it. But I think you may have more specific configurations for your stuff. So Parker Rex, great stuff. Yeah, man, this is what we're doing here. So let's see. I added the feature and it finished working. What did it say? It did find a bunch of stuff. So, okay, summarizing the code review and the next steps. So the navigation UI renders its own key down listener. And even when the on-dex image is changing, because the prop is optional, reusing the modal in a single image context will show affordances and intercept the arrow keys while doing nothing, making either handler required. Now the feature depends on it, gate the button listeners. Okay. The boundary checks whether the navigation is possible or duplicated. Okay. The broken image fallback HTML is copy pasted between authenticated and public galleries. Extracting a tiny helper, even a shared React fragment, could help the markup styles in sync and stay true. See, this is why it's really important to keep your code in one place because you don't want fragments of code in two different places. And this is amazing call out from GPT-5 because you can kind of see in here and in here, it's calling like there's basically the same code that's pasted in two different places. And that's kind of what I see a lot also in Claude Sonnet. It was like it will put the same code in two different places to satisfy itself and get out of here. And you don't want that. You want the code to be dry. You want to be repeatable. You want a little helper function to be there. So if you ever have to make a change, you make it in that one file and it's referenced in both places. Man, Codex is cooking. You got to use it for code reviews. You got to use it for implementing your specs. This is the way that you can have some really good, scalable, maintainable code, keeping it like without over architecting. And then you're just going to be moving. Wow, this is awesome. This is so awesome. Oh my God. Yeah. So do I want this feature? I kind of don't even want the code, but now I have an idea of what that feature will look like. I may implement it differently. So what I might ask it is like, if we were to implement the feature again, how would you write up a new spec for this so that we can not make these same mistakes that was previously done before? Okay. And then what I'm going to go ahead and do is give it the README for our spec file. And so you can reference the following README for how I generate features in my documentation. Okay. And then I'm just going to drag this one here. I think it's README. README in my documentation. Yeah. Okay. So then, and then documentation at document. Okay. I'm going to let it do its thing. Okay. So basically what I'm doing here is that I'm not going to check in the code, but I'm basically telling the model to go and take a look at this mistake, right? I'm teaching it to not be this bad at programming. And it already gave us a lesson itself because it already filled out the information of what it should do in the future. And so in essence, I forgot to tell it to actually write this to a markdown file, but I think hopefully we'll do it next. So now we're having GPT-5, hopefully, now it's generating a new spec outline of like add key robust feature, problem statement guide, prevent prior drift here. And then like, this is actually what it's doing, non-goals and architecture overview. So it hasn't already, because we've already primed the context from earlier for implementing this feature, like sorry, we didn't do that. What we did earlier was we told it to go and do a code review. And in that code review, that's how it primed the context to grab all the different files. And then it like gave us an output for the review. And because we've already done that work, we are now taking advantage of that by writing a new specific spec to say, okay, this is how we're going to now generate a new feature that's going to be a lot better, right? And it's going to be like pretty well spelled out. And I'll be extremely confident to give this to, instead of a high model, I could just give this to low or even medium. So like if I wanted to, I could just give it to low and low will just really go to town with this because we've learned so much from, a lot of this conversation we've had before. So here is the actual document. Wow. What's it doing? Dang. Okay. So it's drafting. Okay. So now it's actually going to draft the detailed feature spec and cool. And I think it's going to hopefully write the file for us. That's super awesome. Try convex backend, much easier. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. So good. Cool. Whoa, we are totally cooking, fam. Okay. So somehow I think it's writing the documentation, but it's not writing it to the markdown file. Oh, it is. Okay. So here's the architecture overview. Wow. Okay. So now it has like actual utilities for the image fallback. This is nice. Okay. So it accepts current index, the model integration, gallery components. This is brilliant. Drafting keyboard navigation spec. Okay. This is going to work. This high model is too good. Wow. Damn, my laptop, all my machines are running out of juice right now. I won't have much time. Okay. My goodness. Okay. Wow. Okay. Holy smokes. Man, we are cooking with this model right now. Architecture overview. It's kind of getting stuck in a loop, looks like, I think. Yeah, because it's not actually writing the file out. So I think it's getting stuck here. But I'll keep letting it do its thing because I really don't have anything to lose. And this is code I probably won't check in because it obviously is kind of riddled with some mistakes. So the big consensus right now, GPT-5 Codex on high, medium, low is available. You can use it. I was currently using the Codex model as a plugin inside of Cursor, but you can also use that in VS Code. You can also use it via the command line. Codex on the web also has this model that you can run. So we've been able to really take advantage of the strength of GPT-5 by generating spec files and also by having specific rules files in our repos. When you have those two things combined, this type of model takes it from just generating code and vibe coding to the next level, which is actually implementing your specs at a detail level that you would normally hand off to another engineer that you would pay hundreds of thousands of dollars for. And I'm blown away at how fast we've been able to ship multiple features here that have been broken down into multiple phases and all leveraging GPT-5's latest Codex model on high, on medium, and on low. And it's able to read through all of my code base, prime that context, and really kind of get to town. And at the same time, we're able to generate new features following that same paradigm. So if you would want to learn more, definitely check out, and subscribe to the channel. I'm going to be launching a private session for like a hands-on mentorship. So if you're interested in that, I'm only going to take 5 people for that type of thing. I will have a form or something below, but if you're interested, drop a comment like in the video if you've made it this far and you want to come learn more, because I used to be an engineer at Apple for 12 years, and now I have a very specific way of like prompting these models, and I'm going to basically be able to share so much of what I've been able to learn. And I have a stack that I use all the time for generating code and generating these apps. And it's been really fun. So if you want to cook with me and learn some of these prompting styles and kind of how I organize information, I'd love to even take a look at that stuff for you. It's a very going to be a very small little group, cohort for that. And it's going to be a little bit different. If you just want to just check out the Discord and hang out with some other folks in there, I also have that available. So rfer.me/Discord is the best place to do. Let me put that into the actual chat so you guys can do this. It's going to rfer.me/Discord. So click that link because I'll actually be shutting this down probably in the next month or so once I start the other cohort for the 5 people because I want to really focus on them. And this is going to be like my personal time to work with that small group of people. And if you're just interested in hanging out with other people who are building and doing software, that the Discord is kind of be where it's at right there. To go ahead and check it out. Just $14.99 a month. When I shut it down, that means that no new people will be able to join in. So whoever's been able to get in so far, you will stay there basically until you cancel your subscription. And that'll be kind of the best way. So I like to keep these things private because that way it filters out people who are much more serious about this. And it tends to be a lot of really good professional people who are trying to level up their skills with AI. So this is something that I'm doing here, and I'm going to be continuing to code with AI. So stay tuned. Even if you're not able to afford these types of things, I will be sharing my knowledge for free through these live streams because I feel like this is an important way to stay up to date on the latest workings with AI. And as there's new model releases, I will be taking a look at them. I will also be flying out to San Francisco for the OpenAI Developer Day. So on October 6th, I will be there. So I'll try to figure out my live stream situation to see if I can live stream from there. And I'll hopefully get to meet a lot of people and hang out with my buddy Johnny and get to see, obviously say hello to a bunch of other folks. So that'll be really, really fun. Currently based in Hawaii. It's currently 8 o'clock here and I need to go get some dinner. And hopefully you were able to enjoy the stream. If you like this, also share it with some friends. It goes a long way in terms of algo. And I will be going back to add timestamps to this. So you can go back to the different chapters and see what we've been doing so far because we've been able to do a lot of work here. And I appreciate everyone's support. And I will see you guys probably tomorrow or the next day. Peace out, y'all.